Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has called for the closure of all hospitals in the country after its Secretary General Dawji Atela was hit by a tear gas canister. KMPDU Chairperson Abi Mwachi called on all doctors to assemble at Fungamana House in Nairobi next week on a date that will be communicated to raise their unified voices against totalitarianism and violence. Furthermore, Mwachi urged doctors across the continent to show their support by wearing a red armband in a symbolic statement of solidarity from Monday. He called for the arrest of the person who injured Atela during the peaceful protest.
As we are moving down behind an SSF building headed towards Agwiskodek, a policeman, and we know him, the witnesses were there, but with the OCS or the OCPD, Capitol Hill Police. He had earlier on threatened the SG that he was going to ensure he removes him from the crowd as the leader. And we are going to have a meeting official to officially start a nationwide strike. Keyword is nationwide strike.
Mwachi said the incident has evoked profound sorrow and outrage among medics. Meanwhile, the International Commission of Jurists has called on the Policing Oversight Authority to investigate Thursday's incident where police shot tear gas canisters at protesting doctors and injured their union boss, Dawji Atela. The doctors were demonstrating outside the main gates of the Ministry of Health offices at Afya House to protest the delayed hiring of medical interns. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union Secretary General was hit and injured on the head as police used tear gas canisters to disperse the group. Now, LSK Western Kenya branch has come out strongly to condemn alleged corruption in the judiciary. Speaking while participating in the LSK elections, while participating in the exercise, former ECK Chair Gabriel Mukele and Kakamega Speaker James Namatse denied the allegations, saying they have no basis.
Ninashangaa kuambiwa ati mtu kama judge anaweza kuchukua pesa kwa mtu corruption. Ya nini? Umeenda kwa school kweli, ukawa magistrate au senior advocate, uende uchukue corruption. Hata niliambia vijana wa hapa, siamini hiyo inaweza kuwa ukweli. Lakini siko huko, kwa hivyo siwezi kuwa na haki. Kama ni kweli, tafadhali naomba members of the bench ikwishe leo. Hiyo italetea nchi shida. Na ndio wananchi wanasikia hata jaji akipita na gari anaogopa. Pengine mwenye kupoteza kesi atasema huyu alipewa pesa. Lakini saa nyingine ni uongo.
They have stated that they are confident with the new leadership, saying that they will bring change in the lawyers' board. This after Faith Odhiambo was elected the new Law Society of Kenya president. Odhiambo, who served as vice president of the society ahead of the polls, was elected in Thursday's elections. The race for the presidency was between 5 candidates: Peter Wanyama, Caroline Kamende, Faith Odhiambo, Harriet Mboche, and Kipkoech Bernard Ngetich. Wanyama, Faith's closest challenger, has conceded defeat. He blamed it on the claims that he was a government-sponsored candidate. Odhiambo becomes the 51st president of the council, succeeding Eric Theuri. Now we go to other stories that we are covering up for you today, and there is need for joint measures to be taken by various countries in the world to protect the environment in order to avoid the effects of climate change that are affecting lives. Speaking at the official opening of the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly at Gigiri in Nairobi, President William Ruto has also emphasized the need to implement the recommendations reached out during COP28 International Conference on Climate Change held in Dubai.
Only collective action at the multilateral level that is effective, inclusive, answers biodiversity loss and pollution. Fortunately, we are now aligned in terms of the need to move together rapidly in order to catch up with and overtake this crisis. COP28 emphasized that simultaneously transitioning away from fossil fuels while tripling renewables and doubling efficiency is a collective priority.
Union President Benali Leila had this to say.
As president of this assembly, my vision is to scale up efforts to overcome our challenges and build on the synergies between the different multilateral environmental agreements. But I also believe, given the fast pace of innovation, that we must stay curious regarding solutions that are yet to be proven, so that we can take, as policymakers, informed and science-based decisions at the right time.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asseto. Good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen. Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It gets over.
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today, very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. Yeah, it is very, very skewed.
We just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Revenge is for children. It's for kids. When you grow up, you realize the best revenge you can take on somebody is to ignore them.
Now, I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people come in one term and that's it for them.
Political parties in this country do not have ideologies, whether luring or otherwise.
And that is the effect of corruption.
Any time an offense occurs anywhere in the country, it is the job of the Inspector General to look into it. Whether it's corruption, whether it's murder, whether it's petty, that is his job.
If we have chosen to be a corrupt nation, then we produce corrupt leaders. Everything then becomes chaotic that you cannot be able to change a nation.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
CT Lodge.
Muga, not Muga.
He's here, and here's the day's proverb.
One man marries a woman. Another man marries troubles.
Is he the same man?
Spice.
A lion cannot eat more than 2 donkeys. It would die a natural death because there is no ICU in the forest. In Kenya, it has become the situation that you cannot conduct 2 elections. In fact,
with the same IEBC.
You can't.
I told you about this Indian friend of mine who was enjoying other Indians in the group. He wrote the word valve and told them, read it.
So how did he say it? I really want to know.
The valve. Because kina Edna, it's the you said the B's and the P's. Kila kitu mkisia akisema atasema opposite.
Opposite?
Ukisema yeye anasema opposite.
Opposite.
Wewe ukisikiliza na mimi unasikia opposite.
Okay, so what does Friday have in store? Good morning to you. Coming into the first of the month and not much happening with traffic. On the thicker superhighways getting to the city, not going to have an issue here. And I know that Wangari Maathai Way yesterday was a nightmare for folks, but it looks like, at least not for now, we don't see anything happening there. Probably it was a one-time incident. As we're getting into Friday and you're coming off Mombasa Road, you're also all right. Not much coming off of the Eastern Bypass this morning. So let's have a look. As we get closer to traffic hour, we'll talk on SpiceFM, KE, on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to
start your day at 10 minutes after 6 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to Friday. It's the 1st of March 2024 and here we are kicking it live this morning on Kenya's biggest conversation and getting into conversations to start off the month. And here we are. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to some conversations that we'll be having today in terms of what will be going on in Nairobi and, of course, the country, and yes, in some cases around the world. Thank you very much, CT. Look at that. This morning things are fantastic. Why are people looking as if you don't know where you're going? Somebody wants to take a chair. What's happening? CT, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
How are you?
Fine, thanks.
You're well?
Now, this is very good. There's a soliloquy that you've just treated us to. What was it in aid of?
In aid of, greeting people, saying nice things, good morning in the morning, and voila, voila, such things.
Such alike things?
Such alike things.
Okay.
Oui, monsieur. Susan Bell, no, you.
No, let the man organize things. Listen, thank you so much, sir. Merci beaucoup.
Then you say, je vous en prie.
You know, this man said the French a long time ago. So great,
Okay. I too can be silent. At one point I thought I was going to be a nun.
Okay. She can still be a nun.
No, it's a bit too late.
Well, cut off point.
Tell you.
Nan nile mkate wa hindi.
That's nan.
None of the above.
That's none.
Okay.
Ama nani ile maziwa ya mtoto. Formula.
Kuna ile nan ambayo ukilong inakuwa nani. Okay.
Ama nani.
Kuna ile nan ambayo inaweza kuwa nanary. Okay. And then kuna nan ambayo yani kwa ufupi hakuna.
Hakuna.
And it's pronounced the same, nan. Just like there's this little creature that flies, it's called a bird. Then there are people who are terrible, they also call bird people.
Bad.
Then there's what you sleep on, that is also called bird.
What?
Spelled differently. The other one is spelled bed, B-E-D.
They're not pronounced the same at all.
Hapo sitio wewe.
Hey.
Ai, atakama bwana. Ai bwana.
It is good that we are awake, is it not?
Ai.
Right.
My chair is not chairing. Edna, you just excuse me as I just stand up. You don't worry. Just pretend like I'm not here. Sawa, Edna? Okay.
Chair not chairing. Edna, fanya like that, please. For consolidation, let me see if we had consolidated. We have consolidation. Yes, we have consolidation. No, we don't have consolidation. Edna, you're not a consolidator. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Happy March. It's the 1st of the 3rd month of 2024. How you doing? It's Friday the 1st. Mambo iko namna hii, mambo iko namna that. Is the live stream on? Ama kimeumana. So,
wait. Wait.
It is you who's nini, eh?
No.
Yeah. Today, I stop. Very nice. Very nice. Ati utimida kolo ni brother nani? Ndugu ya nani utimida kolo?
He has to be somebody's brother.
Okay.
Ndugu ya Aliko Dangote. Good song. What inspired you to? Or you just prayed?
Edna inspired me. As she
Edna.
normally does.
She came and told you, this is March. It's a new month.
Oh, yeah,
everything you go and touch.
Everything you put your hand, go walk.
Your name go open doors.
Why do you have to stretch your chest? Relax.
So you want to make sure you enunciate everything.
Let's say again.
Everything you put your hand,
go walk.
You go open doors, amen. You self go be a boss, amen. Amen. Amen.
Way. Your name go open doors.
Your name go open doors. Even your own no go tay. If you be say you they wait, your own no go tay. In other words, it will not be long before your own comes.
Amen. You believe amen.
I believe completely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Completely.
It's Friday. Today we are going to have a Health Friday conversation around ear and hearing care. Changing mindsets, making ear and hearing care a reality for all. We'll be joined by a consultant audiologist and audio vestibular.
Hey.
My friend. Or what?
Audio vestibular.
So that audiologist and audio vestibular is Richard Mwangi. He comes in at 7 a.m. to talk about making ear and hearing a reality for all. That's at 7 a.m. At 8 o'clock, we've entered March. March is normally considered the Women's Month, and then on the 8th of March is International Women's Day. So this entire month we'll be having several conversations, about women and what is happening in terms of women and celebrating women. There's a group of ladies who are going to be the first black Kenyan women to participate at this year's Rhino Charge. The Rhino Charge, those 4x4 vehicles that go through you're given as you.
It's called bundu bashing.
Then you drive through a rock, come out on the other side,
and drive through a tree.
Find a tree, drive through it, such things. Winnie Maru is one of those. She's a 4x4 off-road enthusiast. She comes and speaks to us at 8 a.m. I mean, now this has women are actually moving into this big time, and they're loving bundu bashing, like you said, City, and 4x4 off-roading, and just getting out there and saying we're spending time in nature. She'll come and tell us what she and her colleagues and friends have been doing. And then at 9 o'clock, we are going to host a candidate for special program secretary at university. Iko kule Machakos.
Machakos.
Yes, Students Association of Machakos University. And this student is called Monica Mercy. What is stands out about Monica Mercy is that she's intersex. And she is, if elected, she's going to be the first intersex person to be elected into student leadership in the world. If she gets elected for this special program secretary in Machakos. So she'll be here, she'll be joining us, and she'll tell us more about intersex. Remember the first time we hosted a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, and he was telling us his own journey and how he became the first person in the world to be a state officer who's intersex. So they're making strides and they're breaking many barriers. And so among the things that we'll be celebrating as we celebrate the women, we also celebrate this one in terms of intersex. 21 minutes after 6 already. The live stream is up already on YouTube and Facebook already. Ndu, can you already open the weather?
Amen.
And give on. And tell us what it's going to look like. Everything that you going to touch today, going to rain. Amen.
Okay.
The weather with Spice
Cloudy this
FM.
morning at 16, highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 26 in a clear Nakuru at 15, partly cloudy at 15 in Nyeri with highs of 26 and 25 will be the high in a clear Eldoret at 12. Mombasa's cloudy at 26 with highs of 33, and into Malindi at 27 is partly cloudy, going to highs of 33. Kisumu is cloudy at 19 with highs of 29, and Kakamega is mostly clear at 17 with highs of 29. Out into Kampala, it's clear at 20, highs of 28, and Dar es Salaam at 27 is mostly cloudy with highs of 32 and lows of 26. It's 13 and clear in Johannesburg with highs of 27, while into Mogadishu it's partly sunny at 26 with highs of 33. 12 degrees and mostly cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 24, and looking into a mostly cloudy Lagos at 28 with highs of 33. Kinshasa is cloudy at 24 with highs of 33, while looking into a sunny Beijing Friday afternoon is 2 degrees with highs of 7. It's mostly cloudy at 6 degrees in Paris with highs of 11, while in London 5 degrees and cloudy, highs of 10, 2 degrees and clear conditions on Thursday night, New York. Coming into Friday, we'll see highs of 6 and lows of -2.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Morning. Soulful says, Assalamu alaikum, tuned in from Dubai. Juma Karim, indeed. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ndu CT. Eric, have a wonderful day. Nyaboke, happy Sabbath tomorrow, says Evans Tabo. Chris Adede says, good morning, Spice FM team. Utawala is locked.
It's assumed.
That what?
You are Kisi, you are SDA.
Nyaboke. Maybe he knows Nyaboke Bwana. Chris Adede says good morning. Sir George Gashori says good morning, tuned in and waiting for a great and insightful show. Kenneth Bushnell is tuned in. He says, can someone tell Sakaja that Kawangware Road is becoming a dumping site? Okay. Siti, can you tell Sakaja?
Bwana Governor, the road again was?
Kawangware Road.
The Kawangware Road is becoming a dump site.
Kawangware.
All right, lady and gentlemen.
Lower Lavington.
Lower Lavington, Kawangware, that road is becoming a dumping site.
Yes.
It has been a dumping site, it's now an eyesore.
Yes.
Because the amount of garbage that is on that road is more than the road itself.
Thank you. You see, you're in good hands, man. Monica Oile says good morning, happy Friday. Good morning, everybody. Georgia Koth says, good morning, my peeps. Eric, CT, Ndu, Edna, Diego. Georgia Koth is greeting you. Watching you live from Miami, Florida. You guys make us proud. Good morning and continue doing what you do. Dennis Karaoke says good morning. Samuel Moreve is also here. Robinsburg, Joel Odondi says he's listening just as the whole world is. Good morning, Eric, CT, Ndu. Have a happy Friday and into a good new weekend. Robinson Kisero is also wishing Nyaboke happy Sabbath from 6 p.m. today. What happened? When the wind... Bish, we see you. Good morning. Luca Biero says good morning, tuned in from Obama Estate. Brian Yaundi, Gregory Mabele says good morning as well. Jacinta Wamboy is in San Francisco, just like Wairimo is. Joe Munga is tuned in. Onganyi Malala is also tuned in. Quite a number of people here this morning. Gregory says, City, we shall disown you. Ati bird and bad. What? What do you mean? One mic, good morning, Situation Room, and happy weekend. Wendam Paula says, weekend vibes. Amen, that's my favorite song, says Jacob Simiu. Edna did like that, guys. She feels you. Nice vibes for the new month. Love it. Agola, we see you. Good morning. Lamek has used the word that I use all the time. Good morning, trio. Great way to start the new month before we japa from this country. Are you planning on japping?
Japa means what?
To leave. Edna, weka moja ya embarambarambra.
Embarambamba.
That's what I was saying. Gregory Mabele says, Ndu, we're waiting for your album. Hey, want me to sing a song?
Album.
See, your album starts with one record.
No. We do not want you to sing a song. We want you to sing songs and release an album.
Don't worry. Give me, I'll do it.
Oh.
Don't worry.
We've given you.
Eddie Odor, it's been a minute, and you're tuning from Koru. Kennedy Wanjala is also here, as well as Evans Muthei says, good morning, beautiful people. Many people online this morning. Honestly, we don't take it for granted that people wake up with us at this hour. Great to have you here every morning. Karibuni sana.
Sana. City?
Yes, please.
Otherwise, ile yako ikoje?
Married daddy sana.
Okay.
Sisi bado iko ndani ya nchi ya Benin. Right. Death is certain. It does not make one sleep in the grave.
What? Death is certain.
It's certain.
It does not.
But doesn't make one sleep in the grave. Meaning is, even though you know
that you will end up there,
you
can't
don't
start practicing. Let me sleep in my future abode.
Yes, let me just see how it bodes with me.
Trial before you buy.
Yes.
Okay. Headlines, please.
On the front page of the Standard this morning, apparently there's a breakup in Azimio. Rather, there are fears of a breakup over the AU bid. A section of Azimio led by Jubilee and NARC Kenya invites 13 parties for a meeting to plot their destiny after Raila Odinga's rapprochement with President Ruto in a move that presents the ODM leader with a major headache as he bids to steady the opposition whip. Now, I don't know if that means that there's a breakup, but okay. They're just having a conversation about what they're going to do later. Very happy to also read the headline that Faith Odhiambo is now the president-elect of the Law Society of Kenya. In a race that saw last-minute endorsements, Faith Odhiambo emerged top with 3,040 votes, with Peter Wanyama becoming second with 2,122. This makes Faith the second woman ever to be at the head of the LSK. Yes?
Yes.
For her.
Congratulations to her.
And she wins it on Women's Month.
Imagine that. A week to International Women's
Fortuitous,
Day.
isn't it?
Quite. Something to be said there, isn't it?
And congratulations are in order by the bucket load.
Irony of security for blind teacher killed by bandits. God. Taxes. MPs are shedding crocodile tears. Get out. They should not cry, I beg. Chickens come home to roost for legislators who voted for the Finance Act as they face angry voters who are unhappy with new taxes on farm produce. What did you expect? You never expected it. And here it is. On the front page of The Nation, give children less homework, parents plead. The current load is excessive, says a new study. That's not even the headline. MPs vote to impeach Deputy Governor. Fate of Kisi's Robert Monda now lies with the Senate.
Kuisha.
Nakwambia.
Simba tunafanya ile kitu.
Ameroa. Raila exit, Moi, Kalonzo meet. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka met KANU chairman Gideon Moi, who has been missing from the political scene, in an attempt to cobble up an alliance as he intensified his campaign to take over the leadership of Azimio from opposition chief Raila Odinga. The former VP insists he must, not should, not could, must be on the ballot.
Be the greatest fool.
To promote my support behind Raila Odinga yet again. So he insists he must be on the ballot in 2027. So let's see how that goes.
All right.
Doctors Union boss hurt in city protests. We saw that yesterday, unfortunately. Dr. Davji Atela, sustained a head injury. A protest by KMPDU members demanding the posting of medical interns turned chaotic yesterday on the Union Secretary General. Now, Glasgow. We're getting into the Commonwealth Arena in Glasgow, Scotland, and the indoor championships are getting underway, and all eyes are on Omanyala as the gold rush begins. It's D-Day as leaders await Environmental Pact at UNEA. We know that conference continues at the United Nations. Let's see what happens as a result of that. The president was in attendance yesterday, and we are waiting for this mind-boggling, earth-moving, earth-shaking environmental deal to be inked. C'est ça? Voilà.
Okay. The Business Daily. Oh, but there's that photo of William Ruto in The Nation. There's also a similar photo in the Business Daily. Kumbe Ruto still has suits.
Not just counters.
Allah. Puzzle of counties running 1,400 illegal bank accounts. County governments are operating more than 1,500 accounts in Kenyan commercial banks in breach of the law that requires them to hold their cash at the Central Bank of Kenya. The Controller of Budget has raised alarm of the oversight that has seen counties like Bungoma run 321 bank accounts, Migori 208 accounts, Kwale 165 accounts at commercial banks. As in you are an accountant, there are 321 bank accounts. How do you even remember them? Hii ni ile kuna pesa ya inile ya interest.
Alafu hii ni ya relief.
Inile ya 321 bank accounts. The law requires that county government accounts be maintained at the CBK for operational activities for better visibility of how the money moves. Limited expectations are given in circumstances where counties need to hold cash at commercial banks for petty cash operations or revenue collection. The other headline is Kenya meets Botswana at UN Environment Conference. President William Ruto shares a light moment yesterday with his Botswana counterpart Mogwetsi Masisi on the sidelines of the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly, UNEA 6, at the United Nations Environment Programme headquarters in Nairobi. Tika headlines. EU MPs clear duty-free deal with Kenya. So the European Parliament discussed the economic partnership agreement that was signed between Kenya and the EU, and they've endorsed it. Mombasa receives the longest container ship. The longest ever vessel to call on the Mombasa port has berthed. Okay, so how do you pronounce that one? B-E-R-T-H.
Birth.
B-I-R-T-H.
Birth.
B-A-R-T-H.
No, it's all about context, my friend.
So the longest one has birthed. Not a smaller one, but has targeting picking up more than 5,000 cargo containers that would free up massive space at the main gateway. So meli kubwa meland to pick containers. I think they're empty. Private household loans in rare drop as interest rates bite. And then Bostock, they are profiling James Ayugi of that e-citizen chap. Then there's a profile also on page 19. Anne Peace Alwala, the Vice President of Global Services Delivery at Summersource, knows something about roughing it. She grew up in the gruffier part of town, where crime reigned high and mothers often called to stand over their bodies. She also knows about living that desperate environment and working her way into corporate as a customer care experience professional. Now, she is the Global VP at Summersource. Summersource is the company that's based in Kenya that does business process outsourcing for the large global tech giants. City, tell us about the star.
Well, the star, top right hand corner in burnt brown. Why, what, not which, what Raila bid for AU post means for Kenya, Africa, and the world. My friend, they've won intergalactic on this one. Huh?
Yeah.
What it means.
What it means.
Well,
so it's not just that he's gone. It means a lot more than just that it has gone.
Yes.
All right. So, DCI to probe 6.3 billion Uhuru Unga subsidy. That I will tell you about later. But let's go on to other things. Officers demoralized. You could soon see cops in maternity dress uniform. Page 2.
What? Okay, sorry.
You could soon see cops in maternity dress uniform.
Is a Maraga report.
This story is on page 2. Move is part of reforms recommended by Maraga Task Force.
Right.
Umeget.
Have you ever seen a pregnant cop on duty?
You've never.
In uniform in Kenya?
Well, they're saying there's a likelihood that can
So
happen.
what happens when a female cop gets pregnant? At what point are they removed from
duty?
From, let's say, maybe they're working
from the trot
front.
or from the patrol, on the beat.
So now the Maraga Task Force may be saying, well, damn.
Right. Family talks collapse. Bid to exhume Kibaki body back in court for hearing.
Which
Kibaki?
Court to hear bid to exhume Kibaki body for DNA testing after family talks collapse.
Oh, that
a man claiming a share of the former president's multi-billion shilling estate in wants the remains dug up. That one.
How is the body being dug up going to now equate to part of the billions being his
DNA?
Oh, that he's saying he's the child of.
Yes.
I beg. Okay.
All right, you've got that one. Malnutrition report reveals worrying diet burdens across counties. This is a story on page 10. Kilifi, West Pokot, and Samburu counties have a record prevalence of 37, 34, and 31%, respectively, while Meru and Kitui are at 25%. Almost 1 million children under the age of 5 suffering from acute malnutrition. 217,000 have severe acute malnutrition.
Oh, yeah.
Reality. So this moving forward that we keep being told about, one has to explain what moving forward means and the direction. Because you could be moving forward in poverty, which means the poverty levels are rising and they're increasing. By the time you have children under the age of 5 suffering from not just malnutrition, severe acute malnutrition, that isn't a joke.
Okay, tell us about traffic, Senior. 23 minutes to 7.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your
All right, it doesn't
day.
look like too crazy a morning. It's just traffic on the thicker superhighway coming in past Survey. But from what is usually the issue, rather the trend on Friday, we'll probably see that will fizzle out quickly. But then again, we're at smack dab at the start of the month. So it also could mean that there will be heightened traffic. Let's just wait and see as we're getting into a busy weekend. As you're coming off of Limuru Road, nothing happening here. And it looks very good coming out of Westlands, at least for now, into the CBD. James Gishuru is also looking all right for now. And on Jogo Road, as you get towards Landis, there's some traffic just at the Nairobi City Stadium roundabout. Getting onto Landis and then out towards Kamkunji, there's some movement as you then get onto Haile Selassie. But I think you'll be fine for most parts of it. Uhuru Highway doesn't look too bad, at least not for now. As you're coming into Outer Ring from North Airport Road, that also looks pretty good. So I think it's a free flow of traffic, at least for now in most parts. Let's see what happens as we get into traffic hour. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Study has shown that parents are saying that this homework that you give to children is way too much and actually needs to be reduced. Poor learners are doomed from the start. Systemic failure like poor infrastructure, understaffing and marginalization lead to low academic achievements among learners, with those from low-income backgrounds most affected, according to a new report. Learners who attend schools that have amenities like libraries, electricity, smaller class sizes, more teachers and reliable supply of clean water perform better than their counterparts in schools that lack the facilities, according to the report. The study also shows that children from humble backgrounds have a delayed entry into formal learning, which affects their learning outcomes and future careers. Nearly 1/3 of preschool-aged children between 4 and 15 are now attending school, indicating a notable challenge in the achievement of universal education. Are not attending school, indicating a notable challenge in the achievement of universal education, with a substantial 40% of learners in pre-primary school being overage, according to the same report. So, the Foundational Literacy and Numeracy Assessment Report published by Usawa Agenda shows that age is a factor in the education outcomes and that 30% of learners in pre-primary are 9 years or older. Similar average issues persist in pre-primary too. Worryingly, the challenges persist into primary school grades, with 5% of grade 1 learners and 2% of those in grade 2 being 12 years or older. So it's just gone through many things, but at a glance, it's telling us that poor children have a later start to school. Learners who attend schools that have these amenities often tend to do better.
Is there part of the story that talks about why parents want less homework?
Yes. Now, just a minute. I was just getting to that and then I lost it. Where did it go?
Sorry. You're still on page 7?
Yeah. Okay, well, look, I'll find it in a minute. But essentially, the complaint here is that the parents are asking in the same report that they should be given less homework.
Why?
They've urged teachers to reconsider their approach to homework, with over half of them believing that the workload is excessive and negatively impacting their children's well-being. This is according to the same report. Now, 75% of parents propose reducing the financial burden on parents, while 5% want learning areas streamlined. 4% of parents suggested minimizing children's homework. So it's not the majority who are asking for this reduction.
And what percentage wants minimized homework? 4%.
Yes, of the parents surveyed.
Okay, so why is that the story then?
Because it sounds interesting as a headline, but it's not the main thing. For me, the main thing here would have been that you need to actually look at that children who come from a particular background are already doomed from the start when it comes to education. This 4% is negligible in terms of those who are asking.
And even the reasons.
The reasons that they're giving, that they spend a lot of time doing them, but you'll also find there's dissatisfaction because parents are involved in the process when it comes to this homework actually being done. So they're saying it's too much.
Okay. Okay. The report is by Usawa.
Yes, Usawa, our friend Emmanuel Mwanyasa.
Right. We could call him next week to look at that story, at the details of the report. Titi, you had two interesting stories that you were to tell us.
I did actually.
Start with one.
Let me start with one. Let's start with you would soon see cops in maternity
uniform.
Yes. Okay. Expectant police officers could soon be adorning maternity dress uniforms as part of the drastic reforms recommended by a task force in its report, if in it the report is implemented. The ex-CJ David Maraga task force has recommended that police service do away with the new uniforms and revert to the old ones, describing the officers as poorly kitted and demoralized.
Which is the old one? The new one is the new Kablu one, the old one is the other Kablu one, the Mothers Union one. The old one, which one?
The sky blue one.
Okay, you go on.
So, sorry.
Can I go on?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you so much. The task force says the Persian blue uniforms, Persian blue, introduced in 2018, were arrived at without consulting the officers who used them, and public participation was not conducted.
Okay.
It recommended that the new attires be retired and a new design be mooted after an exhaustive public participation and officers given chance to give their inputs in 3 years. So when you give them new uniforms, what's going to happen? They're going to police better.
Well,
you feel good if you dress well.
They were dressed well before.
Okay, don't be angry.
Where is the part about pregnant cops?
All right.
These people put headlines and then
the story is
there's
just...
nowhere in the story.
The story here is just about uniforms.
New uniform, old uniform.
Old uniforms. Problem with the old uniform, problem with the new uniform.
Maternity, where is
problem? I'm looking, I'm not seeing. From this one, just poor design, change uniforms, oversight, who said what about the uniforms. The situation is degenerated, officers, they're tailoring their own uniforms. People are now just deciding which color is better. The story goes on and on. The task force confirmed that the National Uniforms Committee, there's such a thing, was not consulted for approval of the new police uniforms. Goodness. Neither were officers as the users consulted, it said. Okay, then they go on. Okay, uniforms worn by specialized units such as the Special Operations Group have also not been approved by the National Uniforms Committee. Goodness, this committee is busy. The task force was also informed that the National Police Reservists do not have a prescribed uniform and are not supplied with uniform by the service. Instead, the report said the reservists are sometimes supplied with whatever surplus uniforms and kits, such as belts and shoes, that are available in the store. Meaning, you come, you're given shoes. The other guy comes there with a belt.
We have police reservists. One is wearing an AP belt, the other is wearing a traffic belt.
And then another one gets a beret. Yes. Mwingine amepewa shati.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Mambo ya pregnancy hakuna kwa history.
As it was at the headline, that's just about it. Just please be content with what you've just received.
Just like the guy who took the belt, what's available. And you now.
Just take what's available.
Okay. So, body to exhume Kibaki, forgive me. bid to exhume Kibaki body back in court for hearing. This is fairly straightforward.
Okay.
One doesn't need to elaborate on it. The matter is still going on. People don't seem to have agreed in Endelea. The one that I found of peculiar and particular interest is this one of malnutrition, because it's something we need to talk about. A report by the Ministry of Health laid bare the malnutrition burden in counties with 5 of the devolved units having over 200,000 children malnourished. According to the latest nutrition situation in Kenya report, Kilifi, West Pokot, Samburu, Meru and Kitui have the highest number of children under 5 years with high levels of malnutrition. Kilifi, West Pokot and Samburu have a record prevalence of 37, 34 and 31% respectively, while Meru and Kitui are 25. Lelo Dhiambo, Deputy Head of the Division of Nutrition and Dietetics, whatever that is, in the Ministry of Health, however, noted that Kitui County has shown improved trends. According to the Kenya Demographic Health Survey 2014, the burden of malnutrition in Kitui was at 45% compared to the current prevalence 25, meaning they've done something about it. They've moved. Some 20% has been hived off. Most of the counties in the Mount Kenya region recorded low levels of 11 to 10. Kisumu and Garissa recorded the lowest prevalence at 9%, while Kirinyaga and Nairobi were at 11 and Murang'a at 10%. 5 counties with the lowest levels had less than 100,000 children with malnutrition. You see,
as in less than 100,000 is what we consider this is okay.
It's supposed to be a good thing. Now, you've understood exactly where I'm going with this. This is where the problem is. What do you mean? Should there be any child in this country
who's malnourished?
Yes. I mean, so essentially they're telling us we usually expect children to be malnourished. So now it's a question of how many are. Now, the acceptable number for malnourishment is, say, around 100,000. So if you have 100,000, you've done well. It's good. It's not too bad. These guys who are at 200 are not doing as well, but they should be around 100. Are you saying that there's an acceptable level for children to be malnourished? Really? How can that possibly be?
What is it? When you see a child being malnourished, what does that say?
It tells you,
the social status of that family.
Yep.
The parents.
It does.
Right? They're not able to afford a proper diet.
Yes.
To feed their children.
Yes.
Under 5.
Yes.
The long-lasting impact of malnutrition include stunted growth.
That's it.
Poor development
of the brain.
Yes. Right?
Yes.
All those things.
Essentially, we're saying
there's somebody who's basically condemned
from the get-go.
From the get-go, and then the thing creeps in and it's in your genes. So the likelihood of you having children who have stunted growth and who have adult brains, so you are condemning this person to always underperforming, and yet that was not how they were born.
Yeah.
So the disadvantage, if you come from any of these areas, there is a very large group of people who are condemned from the get-go.
Yep.
The disadvantage is like it's etched in concrete. No movement.
60 years after independence.
What did the education study tell us as well? That they're actually able to make linkages between children who perform poorly education-wise and their nutrition between the ages of 0 and 5.
Yep. It's a crisis. It's a big issue.
It is.
It's a big issue. The fact that we can actually trace the children says that we know where they are. We know their families. We know the status of those families. Report, gather dust, move on. So very sad. Talking about childbirth. There's a woman called Josephine Ongwen. Ongwen will now go home with 2.5 million shillings compensation after 3 Court of Appeal judges, Joel Ngoge, Patrick Kiage, and Francis Tuyot, agreed the county government of Bungoma and the Bungoma County Referral Hospital should pay her for the indignity she suffered as she was giving birth at the facility. The judges are of the view that hospitals should ensure women give birth in a dignified manner. Health systems, such as the appellants, must be held accountable for the mistreatment of women during childbirth and for failure to effectively prevent and respond to harmful practices. So this is what happened. August 8, 2013, an expectant Josephine Ongwen went to Bungoma District Hospital, aware that the 1st June 2013 directive, the Standard says the directive was by then President Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was not the president in 2013. This was Uhuruto. They are the ones who came in the free maternity care, remember?
Yes.
So when she was going to hospital, she knew that there's this free maternity care service that would make her journey to motherhood easy. At the hospital, she told the court she was attended to by one Dr. Wekesa Kubasu, who advised that she needed to undergo induced labor as she was overdue. Unfortunately, the hospital did not have enough beds, so she shared her bed with another patient. Ongwen told judges that nurses informed her that at the onset of labor pains, she would have to walk from the labor ward to the delivery room. Wewe ukisikia labor imekuja, kuja utupate huko kwa delivery room. Okay? She went. They injected her with a drug and left. She ended up giving birth on the floor in a corridor between the labor ward and the delivery room. Ongwen told the court that she had to buy the labor-inducing drug and the cotton wool despite the president's promise maternity care would be free. However, the county and the hospital denied the claim. After the labor was induced, Ongwen said there was no nurse to check on her progress. Her pleas for help fell on deaf ears. When a nurse finally showed up, the medic concluded that Ongwen was not due for delivery without a physical examination. Wewe bado lazima tupime. Ongwen said she gave birth on the floor as the 3 beds in the delivery room had already been occupied. She recounted how she tried to walk back to the labor ward before the intense pain knocked her out. Upon gaining consciousness, she said 2 nurses hurled insults at her. They were not happy that she'd given birth on the floor. Sasa wewe unakuja hapo unaanza kwa floor. Kwani uone kitanda mahali iko? The nurses ordered her to carry her placenta to the delivery room where it would be expelled. KTN News told her story from shocking videos captured by another woman who had also gone to the hospital for delivery. The county and the hospital admitted Ongwen gave birth on the floor, but they contested her version of whatever else had happened. They said the woman was properly attended to, was not abused or insulted, and was treated with respect by being told, "Za kwa floor." All right? High Court Judge Abida Aroni ruled in Ongwen's favor. She found that the mother was treated in an inhumane and disdainful manner. County government appealed and moved to the Court of Appeal, arguing the nurses who were implicated were investigated by the Nursing Council and they were cleared. They had been interdicted. According to the county, the story run by KTN News was meant to paint it and the hospital in a bad light. After the story aired, the two claimed the woman wrote a statement indicating she had no complaint against the hospital. Ongwen told the Standard journalist Joseph Onyonyi were the star witnesses in the case. The Court of Appeal judge said, you know what, Listen. So you've admitted that this woman gave birth at your facility? Yes. You've admitted that she gave birth on the floor? Yes. Now, sure.
So what again? I think it's even been tempered. I think that the account has been tempered.
2.5 million.
Yeah, I think it's been tempered. I think that probably was even worse in terms of what was said to her. And I think
there are video clips. There was another woman who was in the same facility who was recording. The nurses were captured insulting this woman.
Yeah.
And you know nurses in public hospitals, my friend.
I did an internship for 3 months in the maternity ward in Ukambani. My friend, the things women are told. And that's for me, that's when I said, there's a special place in hell for women who mistreat other women in that position. In that circumstance, in which they are in, at that particular time, with what is going on with you, that you treat her badly. I hope it's a lesson. Because this, for goodness sake. And then you tell her to carry her own placenta. What is wrong with you? What's nonsense?
No, kwa delivery room. Lete kuja maternity. Hizo vitu zako.
Can you imagine?
Nani nilikwambia uzae hapa kwa floor? Tell us a story.
Okay, so now, UNEA is going on. You know that, right? So you want to know what UNEA is? So, world leaders attending the 6th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi, of course, UNEP being here in Nairobi being the headquarters. They will today learn their final deal after a week of negotiations on 19 draft resolutions that will promote new environmental policies and possible legal frameworks for a better planet. United Nations Environment Programme UNEP Executive Director Inge Anderson yesterday said some of the likely resolutions will be on hazardous chemicals and pesticides. There's a big pesticides conversation right now. Air pollution and its impact on human health, land restoration and solar radiation changes. All of these are linked to a theme on multilateral environmental agreements, while governments have been encouraged this year to put aside selfish political interests, yeah, right, and focus on the threat posed to our environment by triple planetary crises: the climate change issue, loss of nature and biodiversity, and pollution. They're saying focus on those three things. Even as the ball is in the negotiators' court on the eve of the Assembly's climax yesterday, heads of state, including President William Ruto, endorsed this year's theme of putting aside differences and promoting multilateralism for the sake of the environment. So it looks as though UNEA is a kumbaya moment where everybody comes and says, okay, yes, state sovereignty, this is our policy on these things. That's going to be put aside, and we're going to focus on these three things. Let's all come together for a better planet.
Okay. Does UNEP participate in the COP conversations?
UNEP as an entity?
Yeah.
It does.
So you have a United Nations Environment Assembly.
Yes.
You have a conference of parties on environment, on climate change.
Yeah. The Environment Assembly has been a long-standing meeting. I mean, it's just along the lines of their core mandate in terms of what they're supposed to do. They are, after all, the environment program
But they started
of the United Nations.
having these assemblies. This is the 6th version.
Yeah. So, I mean, and COP were at 29 this year. So, I mean, but, you know.
Haya. It's okay. It's okay. Kuna hiyo story ya Kisii
gani exactly?
Hiyo nani Simbarati amesema, listen my friend, I picked you as my deputy. You don't behave, you go home.
Iko
sema in a minute.
Okay, in 1 minute. Yes. So
Imenda.
No, I found it.
Okay,
here it is. So now the deputy governor of Kisii County now faces Senate after MCA's blow. His fate now lies with the Senate. Total of 53 members voted to impeach him. Speaker Philip Nyaumba said while declaring Dr. Monda's impeachment, the Assembly had 2/3 threshold. He said, we're not going to allow this. He said that we declare that the deputy governor has been removed from office by the Kisii County Assembly. If you look at it at a glance, the grounds for impeachment were gross violation of the Constitution, abuse of office, gross misconduct, and crimes under the national law. He reportedly used his office to improperly confer a benefit unto himself. However, guided by his lawyers, he denied all allegations, says it was never me, saying the money he received was payment for a loan he had advanced to the family of the job seeker. I had given them a loan, now he just happens to be looking for a job, but we had given him money before. Sasa anarudisha pesa. Nyinyi mnaona unasema ati It's not the case.
What is it? What's happened between the governor and his deputy?
Some bad blood there hapa na pale.
So barely 2 years in office.
That's a lot of bad blood. Eh?
Yeah.
By the time a governor decides, get out. It happens the other way around. We've seen it the other way around. Deputy is saying, I could do the better job than you.
And it's the governor who flagged this one as bad.
Yes.
800,000.
Why? Hiya, it's time for the news. Good morning, it's 7 a.m. Ndu, there's a message for you by Evans Vosena. Utaisoma utamjibu. News time, good morning.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has once again warned cartels in the tea industry that they will face legal action. Speaking after launching the reform report in the tea industry 2023, Gachagua has said that the fraudsters are causing poor rates at the international market.
Those who are in KTDA who want to run for elections, they are free to do so, but they cannot run for elections when they have taken the organization to court. It is absurd that we are using farmers' money to sort out individual issues. People who want to lead, people who are greedy for power, take farmers to courts. We have to pay lawyers from the farmers' earnings. It is not right, it is unethical, it's immoral. You cannot say that you mean well for the Kenyan farmer, yet you take the farmer to court and use his or her earnings to prosecute your matter in court against the farmer.
Gachagua has also guaranteed that the election of the leaders of KTDA will be free and fair.
Those who are engaged in tea hawking are eradicated from the sector, because that has been a big challenge. And I am told, and I have got information, that a lot of progress has been made. There is no let up. We'll continue working with Tea Board of Kenya, with our officers, to make sure that all those people engaging in the illegal activity of tea hawking are apprehended. The time for elections in KTDA are almost here, and I want to say that farmers must be allowed the opportunity to decide who will manage their affairs.
The National Cohesion and Integration Commission has urgently called for decisive measures to end the surge in criminal activities, claiming innocent lives in various parts of the North Rift region have been lost. Expressing deep concern over the escalating conflict that have turned violent, the Commission has emphasized the need to protect lives and uphold the rule of law. In a statement, the Commission's Chair Samuel Kobia condemned the criminal act as he challenged political leaders in the affected regions to take charge by convening meetings aimed at addressing the root cause of the violence. And the government has closed 49 gas filling stations among the 138 licensed ones across the country following the Embakasi tragedy that resulted in the deaths of 7 people and over 280 others injured. Now, Energy CS David Chirchir said this when he appeared before the Energy Committee of the National Assembly and the Senate. Chirchir, his PS Mohammed Liban, Director General EPRA, were ordered to appear before the committee to highlight the condition of gas filling stations in the country.
People have lost properties, people have lost life, and EPLA has a responsibility on corporate social responsibility. I didn't hear you mention anything of that nature.
The PS has expressed his message of condolences to the families. Bonaziri, what have you done for the human face?
What we've done is to put a budget within the National Disaster Committee unit in the Office of the Deputy President, and we have nominated officials from every ministry to sit in that committee to follow up with this kind of incidents, so that we don't have piece of budget sitting in every ministry to deal with national disaster, because this was a disaster.
In order to prevent such tragedies in the future, EPRA has said that it will ensure that all stations authorized continue serving and granted licenses meet the standards required by the law. Now, the Senate committee has asked the National Treasury to set up a multi-agency task force to establish the actual pension liabilities owed to staff by the defunct local authorities and county government. This is after the inquiry by the County Public Investment and Special Funds Committee received conflicting amounts of the unremitted funds from the pension schemes and the Council of Governors. The committee said it got concerned after the pension scheme placed under the unremitted amount at 80.1 billion shillings, while COG stated the owed amount stands at 40.5 billion shillings. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
It's a few minutes after 7 o'clock, and what does it look like on the roads this morning? Usually Friday is not too crazy, and we're looking at the Thika Superhighway now. Some of that movement going towards the Pangani underpass, and it looks like that's where we're going to see the most of it, at least for now. Are you coming in from Wayaki Way? There's not an issue. And also, we're looking at the northern bypass, then touching on Limuru Road this morning. CBD things is where probably we'll see the most of it for now. And there is some movement coming in from Cabanas towards North Airport Road. That's a little bit busy here and there, but we're not into traffic hour yet. Let's see how it changes when we will be. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
March. Welcome to the first day of the third month of 2024. Happy Friday as well. Getting into the weekend in big style. You know, Africa is the frontier, and we have very many economic blocks in this continent. We have the East African Community as a block. We've got the Southern African Development Community as a block, or Corporation as a block. COMESA, the Common Market for East and Southern Africa as a block. ECOWAS, the Economic Corporation of West African States.
Economic Community.
Community of West African States. That one, also a block. And then we now have the African Continental Free Trade Area. Basically, trading within Africa has for a long time not been so good. Africa trading with the rest of the world has been the way it has been. But now it is changing. Africa trading within Africa is going to be a big thing. In a very short while, Africa will have the largest population in the world. Already right now, Africa has the youngest population in the world. So all global capital is heading where? Into Africa. When it comes into Africa, we don't want it to operate it in one area, it's in West Africa. We want it to look at Africa and trade. That's why we have the the Continental Free Trade Area. One financial institution has already looked and seen, this is it. This is how we need to position ourselves to help this trade happen seamlessly. And that bank is?
EcoBank.
And?
Seen far and said, you know what? Of these many markets, 35 of them have presence of EcoBank. I'm not talking about branches. I'm just saying that the market is available right there. And so your branches could be many more than that. 35 African countries, EcoBank is present. What does that mean? That if you're in Johannesburg today, Nairobi tomorrow, or Yamoussoukro, your favorite city, the next day, that it doesn't matter. You don't have to close your account and go and open one in another country. That EcoBank, because of this one platform, says that you can just leave and you can plug in and you can play. You can pay your bills as though you never left. You can continue your business as though you didn't get on a flight and land somewhere else the next day. And because of this one platform, business transactions, your banking is seamless and it is continuous. And with over 14,000 employees around Africa and the world, it makes it possible then for this to happen. It's a better way to do business. And because it's a better way, it's a better Africa.
Yes, yes. Plus, for the last couple of days, we've been telling you about ICA Lion and urging you to email them, plan@icalion.co.ke, or just visit their website, icalion.co.ke, or even follow them on their social media handles, ICA Lion, whether it's Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. Follow them. Have a conversation with them about your plan. Why is it important? It's important because you are already thinking about having a plan anyway. Oh, by the end of this year. Oh, by next year. Oh, by 2022. Oh, by 2034. Whatever you are planning to do, you need somebody to walk with you. And that's what ICA Lion has been saying. Come. Let's have this conversation. We've been there. We know a thing or two about plan. And it's important for everybody to start thinking, how do I actually put together a plan? There are people who just don't know, where do I begin? Yeah, I know that this is what I'd like to do, but where do I begin in planning? That's where they come in to tell you, this is where you begin. N'est-ce pas?
C'est ça.
Bas, namna hiyo. Now, on the 3rd of March this year, we will be talking about ears and hearing. Because it's going to be the World Hearing Day this year.
Is the world?
Ears of years. of hears.
What?
Higher. Let me quote this man called Ghebreyesus. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus is the WHO Director General. He says hearing loss has often been referred to as an invisible disability, not just because of the lack of visible symptoms, but because it has long been stigmatized in communities and ignored by policymakers. That's why this year, as the WHO designates this as the World Hearing Day, you're talking about changing mindsets. Let's make ear and hearing care a reality for all. Now we have somebody who understands a thing or two about ears and hears, and this year he's our guest. His name is Richard Mwangi. Richard is a consultant audiologist and also an audio vestibular. What is that now?
Audiologist. You know, there are some people who spin deep.
At your job is an audiologist.
Yes.
What does that mean? Fundi wa mitambo.
Ours is about hearing and balance.
Hearing and balance.
Yes. So when you talk about audiologist and audio vestibular, basically we are talking about human hearing and balance. Because basically that's what keeps us in equilibrium. That helps us in staying on course.
Balance ya kusimama.
Kusimama, kutembea, kama umelala.
Equalizer ya masikio.
No. Balance. what people call vertigo, or when you have got, waking up with a spinning effect. That's the kind of balance we're talking about.
I see.
Yes.
Well, okay.
Maswali ni mengi, City.
Yeah, I hear
Welcome the man.
I hear
you. You hear the guy.
I hear. I don't understand, but I hear.
You hear. Well done.
I hear.
We have formed a nice entry into this conversation. First of all, Mr. Audiologist, audio vestibular, would like you to listen and hear today's proverb with this year man. City Muga.
This year, 2024.
In this year.
Let's do this.
Okay. Right.
This week the proverbs are from?
The Republic of Benin.
Alrighty.
Okay. Very good. Whose capital is?
Porto Novo.
Well done. Largest city is?
Cotonou.
Yes. Used to be capital, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
Starts off as being capital, becomes commercial capital, then you get a political capital.
Right.
Right.
Same is Yolo soon.
Even here, Isiolo might soon be capital again,
Yes.
for all you know.
Yes.
Death is certain, but does not make one sleep in the grave.
Death is certain,
Yes.
but does not make one sleep in the grave.
Yes.
Richard, what's your interpretation of this? Did you hear him well? Would you like him to repeat?
Death is certain, but it doesn't make one to sleep
in the grave. No, it doesn't.
I mean, that's the certainty about life.
It is. It is. But where does the sleep in the grave come in? We've established that's a definite, there's certainty. You're alive, next stop, infinity. So now, why sleep in the grave or not sleep in the grave?
Why sleep or not?
Yes, it's just your thoughts. This is one of those questions where you can't be wrong because it is your thoughts that you want to hear. It's how you interpret it, how you see it. Sometimes you actually don't see it, but even then it's still okay if you don't see it.
It's by choice.
Yes.
So I'm correct.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very good. Now ask the question.
The question that I wanted to ask is this. The hearing, audio, I get.
Vestibular.
But balance, let's start with something simpler. Vestibular is technical. Balance, where does the balance come in? What has my hearing got to do with my balance?
Today I brought you a model of the ear so that it will simplify City's questions because I've been following you and this is the model of the ear. Okay? This is what you say. Commonly people say it's the ear.
It's this.
But here we have the ear canal, the production works happens there. Okay, we have the eardrum, we have what you call ossicular chain, where you find the smallest ear bones. So there's one called malleus, incus, and stapes. And then here we have semicircular canal, which helps us in balance. And here we have the cochlea, which is the inner part of the ear, or what you might call the hearing organ. So the balance and hearing, they are related, and this is what we specialize in. So your balance is important because it is just what you trained in. This is what we call vestibular system, and this is what we call the cochlea.
Okay, just walk us through this and tell us how it is that the organs that you've mentioned, that vestibular area, what it is and how it is they affect one's balance. I am walking, I can hear, all right? At what point does that capacity, the ability for me to take in the audio, how does it influence my balance?
So in this organ here, there is calcium carbonate stone-like structures called otoliths. So when you move like that, they send the message that you're moving forward. When you move back, when you move side, when you move, they send a message to the brain that that's exactly what you're doing. Now, when there's a problem is that they get dislodged in some time and they lie freely within the canals.
What dislodges them?
One of the things is, in medicine, you say it's idiopathic.
Meaning?
Not known cause. The other one is that...
But it happens.
But it happens.
Okay.
But another thing is that those people go to the loud sounds and there's so much of booming music. The speakers are too loud, might dislodge this one, because we know sound is city. Sound is energizes it.
I was told this sometimes back.
So you are one of our patients.
Well, yes.
But just before I finish, an accident also can happen.
Yes.
A disease can happen.
Yes.
But also, as I said, it can happen of not known cause. But treatment is very simple because about 90% of the balance issues are done by rehabilitation. So these kind of maneuvers we take through the patient, try to reposition them.
So are we saying that the entire system of balance that I have in my body is nestled in that little area there?
Two sides, this side and that side.
The two semicircles.
The semicircular. Yes, semicircular canals. So the right ear and the left ear.
Okay.
Yes. Welcome to my biology class.
You get it?
Yes. No, I'll tell you where the penny dropped. I am thinking of any time, for instance, I'm in a place and someone turns on the music very loudly, and the effect, that's what I saw. The effect it has, I'm disoriented. Now that disorientation means I will not want to move because I'm not certain that I have the balance. That's what hit me. And I said, I see. So I can see the effect of what he's saying.
Okay.
Yes.
So then what makes us hear? Looking at this model here, what happens? Sound, from what we remember hearing in school, sound goes somewhere, bounces off something and comes back into the front. And that's when we hear sounds. What exactly is that?
So this being the model of the ear, the sound comes, of course, from here.
Yes.
Okay. Taken through the ear canal.
Yeah.
This is the eardrum here.
Yes.
What you're saying bounces.
Yeah.
This sound, this moves.
Yeah.
Okay. Like now I'm talking, this vibrates, and then moves this, all these three parts, three bones in the ear, then comes to here, and then this is the final part of amplification of the sound, and then to the brain for interpretation.
Right.
So it makes us to understand, and that's why, we normally say there's hearing and there's understanding. So if the hearing is not as good, then the understanding will be challenged.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, in the instance of hearing loss or deafness, what happens here that then does not allow an individual to hear?
So there are three types of hearing loss, just to answer your question. There's one, which is, we say it's conductive hearing loss. That just means that the conductivity of the sound is not very good. So this one happens here. Now, that can be as a result of wax blockage.
Okay.
People who use earbuds or Q-tips, which is wrong. You're not supposed to use them in your ear. getting, yes.
They're called earbuds.
Yes, earbuds or Q-tips.
Those Q-tips.
Yes, you're not supposed to use them inside the ear, and they all the brands are written. Yeah, it's small writing. Eh?
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to use them because what you do, you push wax further
in.
But I normally say they're deliberately made white so that it can come out, brown, and you can see like you're doing a good job, but that's not your job to do it. It's the ear cleans itself. But having said that, is that there are three types of the hearing loss. Conductive aspect happens here. And also can happen when the eardrum is not functioning well, maybe perforation, maybe there is a fluid in the middle ear.
Perforation meaning it has a hole?
It has a hole.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that also when you use Q-tips, that you can lead yourself to injury. And that can be quite a serious thing. So another thing is that you can have both sensory neural hearing loss, where we say the hearing nerve or the cochlea has an issue, this part, okay? The third one is mixed of both.
Yeah.
That you have got maybe wax impaction, maybe you have perforation of the eardrum, maybe you have fluid in the ear, and still you have the hearing. And that one also now makes us understand the different levels of hearing, because there's a mild case, there's a moderate case, there's moderately severe, severe, and also there's profound case.
Okay.
Profound being the worst case scenario.
So before we get to the profound, it sounds like everything else that you've talked about, whether there be a blockage, sounds like that can be removed. Whether you talk about a perforation, sounds like that can be closed. When you talk about some kind of obstruction, the object can be moved. So then, are there levels of hearing loss that can actually be reversed?
Some, yes, especially when you talk about conductive hearing loss. When you say about conductive hearing, if it is wax cleaned, that's good to go. If it is a fallen body, insect or cotton bud stuck inside there, it's removed. If it's a perforation of eardrum, the ENT surgeons are the one who do the operation to try to seal the hole. That is done. But when you talk about sensory hearing loss, it cannot be reversed. But it can be prevented in one case where we talk about noise. So because noise pollution, or there's something called noise-induced hearing loss, where you find that the noise is too much and it's damaging the hearing. That can be prevented. And the WHO is very categorical on that. Reduce the much noise you expose yourself.
True.
They'll argue that we wear sunscreen when you go to sunny beaches of Diani to protect ourselves from sunburns. We wear sunglasses to protect our eyes. But also ears need to be protected. But also, as the Eric said, it is one of the invisible disability. So ears are somehow forgotten, and we forget all about taking care of them.
Okay, before we go to some of the other issues that we would suffer from, I must admit, I once put a Q-tip in my ear and the top bud
broke and got stuck inside.
Yes. And I had to go to the dentist. I had to go to the doctor, and he put this, super duper machine in it to then remove it. But I remember, sorry?
You had panicked.
Oh, properly. I knew I was deaf. The world was ending. But I remember the whole day just putting, because I was uncomfortable. It felt really cloudy up there, somewhere in there. I couldn't, So I imagined, and then I heard another doctor say at some point that anything smaller than your elbow, you should not put in your ear.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anything smaller than your elbow should not go into your ear.
Yes.
So then is the ear self, like other parts of your body which are self, or they will expel things naturally? It seems that the ear is pretty hidden. This is just a small part of it. It's pretty hidden. So how would it then, you say it's self-cleaning of wax, how does it expel that on its own if it's so, it's well into the cavity?
The skin inside the ear is like a conveyor belt. So it slides the wax. So we're talking about this skin here. The wax production happens somewhere here. So it slides out. And that's why sometimes when you're showering and you put the bathing towel, you find you're coming out with wax. That's a good functioning ear. But most people, what they think is that there must be a lot inside, if at all I can get some of this with your finger. But that's wrong. That's wrong. You're not supposed to put anything. As the good doctor told you, that's how it is. The biggest part which should go in your ear is your elbow. Of course, that means the difficulty of it. I mean, you cannot do anything to it.
What is wax and why is it important?
It's very important.
What is it?
The wax helps in trapping insects. That's why when you if let's say a cockroach or something like that of that size goes in your ear. Goes in your ear. It doesn't go way too far. It gets stuck somewhere. Of course, it traps dust and other.
So the cockroach gets trapped in there.
Yes, it cannot move as far.
I just want to know where you
just
were.
need to. You just need to remove. You look like you've been a couplet of it.
Okay. So it's Friday, isn't it?
So it prevents
it
external
prevents exactly
things from
entering the ear.
Where does the wax come from?
It is one of the secretions from the body, but it helps. That's its work.
So is it produced from where is it produced? Is it from lower down the cavity?
Both sides.
So it just seeps through into that membrane.
It also protects the skin here because it's quite delicate.
Okay.
It traps the dust, traps the insects. So that's why we are not supposed to interact.
Is there a good amount of wax and a bad amount? You talked about some of the conductive hearing loss being excess wax.
Yes.
So you don't want us to remove the wax?
Don't remove the wax because that's not your job to do it. The ear will do it. And if at all you have query or a question of how much wax it is there, let someone check, but you cannot do it by yourself because as much as you want to use those Q-tips, you don't know how far you are going in. Okay. And I hear people saying that stretching is
nice, my friend.
Look at you being a culprit.
When you do like this.
No, you're doing that
and you always have to
exactly, and you get absent-minded. Leave it there and you sleep on that side. What will you do? You just perforate your eardrum. Or even somebody just passes there and just knocks. You're doing it and you forget your worries and you just think about the H-ness and the sweetness they say about it. So it is not good at all. We've had cases of people having those accidents happen in their ear. And they can be corrected. Some can be permanent. So it is not good to use those Q-tips at all.
Okay. What happens when you get water in your ear, and of course you shake your head about and you can feel I don't know how else.
That's a good one.
Onomatopoeic, are we? Okay, go
you just
on.
leave it will come out.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay, because we spend the whole day doing this and
because you see this part is so sealed, the water will come out to this point. So just leave it. And sometimes you'll feel very hot water coming out from the ear. You feel so much of relief.
Yeah.
Of course, when something gets in your ear, you panic because first of all, you cannot see it. And you don't know what kind of impact. You don't have any knowledge about what is happening to your ear.
Yeah.
Panic, it's okay. But you see, don't put things. The water will definitely come out. But also what you advise is that if you have a perforation inside the ear, don't allow water to get into the ear because of course this part is not sealed. Okay. So you'll expose other areas. Okay.
One of the things that is very common with the human beings is habits that we tend to have when we're adults and grown up and when we get older begin in childhood. This knowledge that you're now imparting, is it something that is readily available to children of school-going age from a very early age so that they understand? Because children will pick up good and bad habits from their parents. And given the importance of the ear and the likelihood and the ease with which you can actually damage it, is there a program, is there a process, are there ways in which it is ensured that people who are still at the stages of learning at the very earliest stages can actually get to have this understanding that we are now having now?
I'll say yes and no, depending on where someone is. Because some of this information nowadays are readily available and you find people reading it, at their fingertips. But now you see there's some areas that are less fortunate that you cannot read about all this, about the hearing and things like that. Now, it is in 2007 that the World Hearing Day was created for the betterment of the ear and hearing healthcare, because we need to impart this kind of knowledge to each one of us who is can be exposed to this hazard of perforation, this hazard of the noise, this hazards of having balance issues, and they know what kind of solution they need.
Okay. Yeah. There are a couple of questions that are coming in, and maybe we'll have some time to look at that. But one that is here right now is one of two. When my daughter stands up in a hurry, she gets either a blackout or dizziness. What could be the cause of that, and how do you deal with it? And then in addition to that is the same happens in addition when asleep, When I turn quickly or sleep facing up, I get an extreme headache or partial blackout. And they feel that sensation in here.
To answer the first question is that about the daughter, maybe you don't want to know how old is the girl.
15.
15 years old. But there's always some simple clinic assessment that you can do to know where this kind of dizziness or what she's trying as a blackout originating from. Because all these, as I explained to the semicircular canal here I was showing you, is that they originate from different canals, and you have to look at it cleanly how it is. Another thing maybe the family doctor would want to know is the blood count, all those kind of lab test. But also in our area is that to know where is the balance originating from, is the child having the other issues, things like that, so that we can square know that it is balance issues, is a dizziness, is vestibular, disturbance or something like that, and then it is our case to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when all those other things are ruled out, then it comes.
They can even come. They can run. They can even come to us first, and then we see whether it is one of our case that to deal with. In most cases, you'll find it is one of these cases that you have to deal with, and then we do the rehabilitation. Now, there was a second question about this person who
asleep at night, and then unable to sleep facing up, and when they turn quickly to one side, they get an extreme headache or partial blackout. Sounds like vertigo. So
yeah, partial blackout, I would want to think is trying to explain the vertigo part of it. And in fact, that is a person should visit an audiologist, because that is a very rehabilitative case. It can be done, and that it's cleared forever. Because what will happen is that it comes within a few seconds. They'll have to close their eyes because the world seems like they're spinning. They have to hold their bed strong because they feel like everything is moving upside and down. So they have to close their eyes, what they call a blackout, and then try to see the situation resolving itself. It will resolve so fast, but then you don't know when again
Another
it may
one will
happen.
happen.
Yeah. Some may find that they are driving and they had to turn like that, and then it happens. So it is a case that need to be addressed. It is very easy to rehabilitate. Yes.
Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 8. On the 3rd of March this year, Sunday, we will be marking World Hearing Day. And here with us in the studio is an ear expert. He is Richard Mwangi, a consultant audiologist, audio vestibular. We're talking about hearing, just getting to understand hearing impairment and what it means. And very many instances where maybe this could be corrected or this could be rehabilitated, they said. We'll be back shortly with that conversation. Post your comments or questions on YouTube, on X, tag us at SpiceFMKE, as well as Facebook, SpiceFM.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If you want your clothes and fashion gear to be so sexy that even your wardrobe blushes, what do? Buy tickets to a fabulous fashion show? See what the dedicated divas are wearing? None of the above, because soon the Nairobian will become the Nairobian Extra and give you TNX rated fashion live.
Some very nice, mature music.
It really took me back to my days, and I can just feel young again and enjoy the vibes.
This morning it's 16 degrees, and in Nakuru 16 degrees and sunny, 15 and sunny in Nyeri, and 14 and sunny in Eldoret this morning. At 27 Mombasa, sunny conditions, and at 27 in Malindi, the sun is up as well. It's cloudy at 20 in Kisumu with 17, and mostly cloudy conditions in Kakamega. Partly sunny at 20 in Kampala, while Dar es Salaam is sunny at 26. 13 and sunny in Johannesburg, and Mogadishu at 28 is sunny this morning. It's 13 and sunny in Addis Ababa, while at 14 Eldoret, I beg your pardon, while at 26 Dar es Salaam is sunny. Lagos is mostly cloudy at 27, and Kinshasa at 24 is mostly cloudy.
Chilled Spice.
So not too much of a traffic situation this morning. You're not looking too bad coming off of Thika Superhighway. Just that survey when your service lanes are done and you're getting towards the Pangani underpass. Wangari Maathai Way looks really good today. There's incoming traffic from Limuru Road, but you should be out of this in no time. And if you're coming in through Westlands, everything looks A-okay. And let's take a look at Cabanas going towards North Airport Road. Quite some traffic here. And you find a hold-up as you're touching on going towards Outer Ring, and then on the other side at North Airport Road coming out towards Cabanas, there's a hold up here as well. But Friday morning, this should all fizzle out in no time. We're just getting into traffic hour. Let's see how it develops as we get closer to 8. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
That's from
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Understanding hearing loss, hearing impairment, and just healthy hearing function. Many things that you've taught us this morning so far, and this is about just taking care of the ear so that you maintain your proper hearing and balance. You've told us that there are various degrees of hearing loss. Okay, when can one tell that I'm starting to get into hearing loss?
So in matters of hearing loss, it's a very gradual process. So you find that in most cases it's not you realize, that's in most cases, but some cases you might realize that you cannot hear very well. So people start telling you, look here, we said about this yesterday, but you said yes, and now you're saying no. Your volume, when you're all alone, the TV volume is too loud. You're always using your phone on high volume, or you're using your volume on loudspeaker. So it ends up being a case where the sound you cannot be able to hear as much. But now you might not notice, because somehow in a quiet world of yourself, you've got a degree of hearing impairment. But other people who you live with, they find that the sound is too much and they would want to have you checked for your ears. So in fact, what we do when a patient comes in, we ask the question is that, how many years have you had this problem? That's because it takes some years for somebody to realize that they have a problem. But then there's some other case that you can sleep today and wake up having a hearing problem, which is called sudden hearing loss. That should be treated as emergency. It deserves. You should not wake up with a hearing problem and just say, it will resolve. You should go to the hospital as soon as possible. So how to know the degree is that there's quite a number of tests are done. The test that you can do for the adults and another one you can do for the children. The one is, see, like the way you're hearing the headphones, and then we make you understand that there will be a sound, faint sound that will be presented to you, and as much as you hear the sound, you keep on pressing. Yes. Now that cannot be done to a child who cannot understand simple instructions like that. So we normally make them sleep naturally, deprive the child sleep, and then they can do what we call a auditory response test.
Right.
It's a brainstem test to assess how much the sound this child can be able to hear.
Occupational hazards.
Yes.
See, I'm wearing these things.
Yes.
So that I can tell the balance, that all the mics are same and all.
Yes.
But then it means I'm hearing you closer than how Ndu is hearing you.
Yes.
DJs who are constantly playing day and night loud music in a club,
in a studio,
are there occupational hazards that predispose you or pre-expose you to hearing loss?
Yes, there are.
And what do you do about that? Like, which ones are there, and what can one do about it?
No, even not coming to the studios and the DJs. Let's start with manufacturing industry, where you find that the nail manufacturing industry, the barbed wire company, the cement industry, those people are exposed to too much noise, but you can take care of it. Job must be done anyway, but you have to use what you call noise plugs. Those are the things that sometimes in the airport you can see guys hanging them around here, and when they go to the noise where it's too much noise, they put it inside the ear. It can be as simple as that, and it helps in preventing what you call noise-induced hearing problem. Now, coming to the music and the DJs and the loudspeakers, now that can be controlled. I remember some years back, you'd sit somewhere enjoying the music, and you can feel you're really enjoying the music. Nowadays, it is the noise. It's no longer the quality of the music. It's how loud it is. Now, that is what is causing most of young people have this kind of hearing problem. We used to say that the hearing problem, especially where it's age-rated, starts from about 60, thereabout. Now, the hearing problem, it is going down because too much of listening or too much even the wearables devices in the market. You find even people walking around the streets and you hoot behind them. They cannot hear you because the sound that they're exposing themselves inside the ear is already too much than your hoot. You can imagine how a hoot it is when it's close. So they exposes them even to hazard of being knocked by the cars, being knocked by the do these guys, and all that kind of thing. And also they are causing quite of a damage to their ears. It might be gradual, they might not notice that because they are enjoying the oomph of the music. Okay? But the long run, they'll find that this is not good enough. And also, people in call centers and new now is that we normally have something we call 60-60 rule. Use the volume at around 60% because so many devices have controls that you can see, and about 1 hour and have a break. That's good enough. And of course, the kind of headphones you're using, they are very good. The traditional way of headphones, they are very good. Reason because the sound pressure escapes from where the contact of the skin of the headphone. But you're finding people having a stylish one, put inside the ear, noise cancellation, all those kind of things. I mean, and you use it for hours. That is causing quite of a damage to the ear.
Okay. How would you tell if a baby is either hard of hearing or has total hearing loss?
That's a very good
non-present.
question. That's a very good question. Now, this is something we normally talk about as audiologists called 136. When the mother delivers, there's something called newborn screening. See, some years back, used to say it was, did the baby cry, was the color of the skin, the weight, and things like that. Some of the things that are included now is that the hearing screening, the eye test, and things like that, where we just use a very simple device. What you're looking for is pass or refer results. Okay, it might fail the first time because the child might be crying, be fluid in the ear because of course, the process of giving birth, and maybe the machines are running in the room, all those monitors. But then, why it is 136 is that you can repeat it after 3 months.
Okay.
And then, if this child passes, there's a child B. If the child fails, let it be repeated at 6 months. And this time you'll be thinking of doing a diagnostic test. All this you're doing 1-3 is screening tests, just to see whether it's a pass or a refer. At 6 months, you can repeat this pass and refer test because it doesn't take time. It's about 2 minutes or less. Then you go to do a diagnostic test. When you're doing the diagnostic test, you're trying to test in different loudness of the sound, what you call decibels in hearing, in audiology. You're trying to test how loud is the child responding, or the child you can get a waveform. That's what we call it. We call it a reproducible waveform when you try to get it. And then you can say it was maybe at 50, maybe at 60. What that means it is that the same case, it is more a different way of doing the other test of hearing.
Yes.
But now more where you don't need the child to understand the information that you're giving them. But you can get to know whether it's a severe, whether it's moderate, whether it's a profound case. So with that, an intervention can be done even when the child is 6 months. But what people do is that, it's good we have to accept that people get into a denial. But it's always good to, have a second opinion. But in most cases, you'll get the same result. Don't delay. Let this intervention be done at that early age because it can be done. Don't hear, these people saying, friends telling you, the uncle talked when 10 years, 5 years. That doesn't happen scientifically. So take intervention, even at 6 months, 7 months. This child will develop speech and language as per the peers, will go to normal school with others, will compete with others in school, and later on in life, and will be able.
So what are some of the interventions that we speak of when we talk about at 6 months? I read a story that a lady was in the kitchen and pots, and her child was playing, and pots fell, loud clanging noise, and this child didn't react. So that's when she realized, something here could be wrong. But at that time, the child was playing, could sit up on its own. So at that age, what kind of intervention? I mean, for me, the first thing that we think about are hearing aids. But are we talking about surgical interventions, things that can be done to reverse what may have gone wrong?
Yes, and just to go back to that lady, Port Fell, is that, there's a milestone of development. Any parent knows that at a certain age, the baby will bubble. Maybe around 8 months, respond to sound. When you clap, the baby will turn smiling. Some of these things, the caregivers, the parents, you just check. I mean, you're so in love with this newborn child, and you play around. Even if they cannot understand your language, they can smile.
Something react.
They know your voice, and at least they're learning. So if there's no at all reaction at all, even if the baby is facing away and you clap behind, and the baby is not turning, you call the baby's name, the baby is not turning, and some of these things should be ring a bell that let me just have a screening test done. Now, talking about the intervention is that depending on the severity of the hearing problem, there's a different way of doing it. So for the children who have got severe to profound, hearing aids do not help much.
Okay.
So there's surgical intervention called cochlear implants that is done. But from mild, moderate to severe, we find most cases is that the hearing aids works and works perfectly. And there's no age that will say, now the child is I'll wait. Now the child has been diagnosed with moderate hearing loss. I'll wait for about 2 years. No, it doesn't work like that. Those delaying things will make the child get delayed everything from develop the speech, language development, and also in school.
It's interesting that something as small and yet so sensitive and crucial as the ear, I'm talking about myself now, what I'm finding fascinating is just how little I know about it. And how, because of that ignorance, I can actually go about what I consider to be my daily business in my relating to my ear. And in the process actually cause more damage than I could ever have dreamt. I'm going back to the question I asked earlier on, and for a very good reason. One is taught anatomy when one is in secondary school. I guess you start introducing in primary school and you're taught the ear and you're given the person how exactly it works. And there are mentions of what you should understand about the ear, the parts of the ear and what they do and so forth. Now, even as we have this discussion, there are all these people whom one comes across who belong to a certain society in our country that deals with people who have hearing impairment. Okay? It is said some of them have been brought about by a result of certain diseases that they have. Now, my question, what are some of the diseases that are prone to the ear? Diseases that are common, the diseases that then affect the hearing and sometimes to the point of a complete loss of that hearing.
Thank you for your question. And just to make a brief understanding on that is that we talk of hearing problem as either congenital, that is somebody has been born with this problem, or it can be acquired. Okay? Congenital, maybe the mother had complication during pregnancy, things like that, or some diseases that caused the ear not develop the way it is supposed to. Now, acquired is now you find most cases where you talk about diseases like mumps, where we talk of some medication like quinine, what we call medication we call ototoxic. Auto means that they are harmful to the hearing nerve. We've talked about noise-induced hearing loss because of the noise. We also talked about age-related hearing problem or accident, where you find that the hearing had been damaged. So there are quite a whole topic on the causes of the hearing. But now, when you get to the cause, other might not be because it might be hereditary. Okay, so that you find that in this kind of family lineage, there's a hearing problem, or somebody had a hearing problem. So all those are causes of the hearing problem. So to answer your question is that diseases like mumps, measles, might contribute towards the hearing impairment. And that's we say it is the group of the acquired hearing problem.
Does hearing loss come, let's ask it this way. What about pregnancy then results in partial loss of hearing, that for some women, that hearing has never returned?
So you asking now the parent gets a hearing problem.
The mother
who's
pregnant.
Yes, those cases are there, and there are not many, but they are there. I've seen in about 18 years of practice, I've seen a number of cases. It is otosclerosis. Now, it's not well understood what happens. Now, what that means is that this part gets quite of a bony structure growth that makes these three bones fixated. Okay, so they cannot be able to move the sound. So when the sound gets up to here, these bones, they are not vibrating the way it's supposed to vibrate. That means the nerve is good, but still, because the sound has to go through the whole canal, the eardrum, the circular chain, the three small bones to this part, they are not able to move the sound. Okay, so it is not well understood.
The connection between pregnancy and...
Yes, but that case is there. Yeah, because we find that it might be mild, moderate. The best approach to do is just use the hearing devices as prescribed.
But before pregnant, she doesn't have this condition.
Yes,
she gets pregnant, gets the condition. Is it not reversible?
It can be reversed by surgical intervention.
Okay.
But most doctors would want it to be the safest way possible using the hearing device.
Okay.
Yes.
Hearing devices.
Yes.
It's part of rehabilitation, right?
Yes.
So once you've diagnosed somebody, yes, you have one level or a degree or another of a hearing problem, then we start doing something about it. When you are given a certain hearing device, does it lose its power over time? Do you need to keep changing it like we do with glasses?
Yes. Now, what happens is that the hearing loss, it's progressive. Remember here, this hearing device is not coming to treat. There's already a case of maybe a mild, moderate, severe case. But also, you use the hearing aid. That's why it is a hearing aid to help you hear what you cannot be able to hear. It is not coming to do any corrective measures or reverse anything. So another thing that happens as you continue, you're getting old. Okay. Another thing we've talked about is that there's age-related hearing problem. But how to monitor that? We always advise have an yearly check or even 2 years check of your ears so that you can be able to monitor with your audiologist. Now, will the hearing aid lose power? It might, because hearing aid, they are prescription devices. Right. And that's why, when somebody calls and tells me, give me a quote. No, we cannot give just a quote. We want to see your hearing test so that we can give you a quote or according to the much power amplification you want. So it might get to a point that the hearing aid is not sufficient enough for you. About 4 or 5 years, you have to change the hearing aids so that we get to a new device, new technology, and things like that. And they've come very nice hearings nowadays. It's not what you have in mind, a beige big thing behind your ear. No. They're nice, far much better than wearables people are wearing. And these people are even getting advantage of having their phone Bluetooth connected there. They can use their phones once again. They are rechargeable. They are nice nowadays. It's not what has been stigmatized. No wonder we have this theme of
so it's not this thing that you will see protruding from your ear and...
Yeah, it might be that one because different severity, hearing problem or different degrees have got to be approached with the different devices. But in most cases where you find most people are about mild to about moderate, severe and severe, there's some nice hearing devices that can be put and they're stylish. Yes, so the stigma associated with the hearing aid, it should not be as such. Some years back, eyeglasses were also the eyeglasses were also stigmatized, but now is fashion.
Yeah, nice pieces of bottles.
Yes,
thick like that.
Yes.
Let's talk about balance. So, how do you diagnose that somebody has a balance issue, and what do you do?
Now, the most important thing is history taking. When you're diagnosing the balance, you have to listen to the patient clearly, give them giving their experience and description of it. That is very important. So that as the patient is telling you the history, in your head as a clinician, you are eliminating some of the causes and then you are narrowing down to what exactly it is. Now, when you narrow down, you have to do some specific test, where you put some special goggles inside the cameras and instruct the patient. There'll be some squares, dots on the screen. Follow them. What you're trying to do is just to study how you study the balance through the eyes, so how it is and which side it is might be affecting. In most cases, you find people complain on one side and say, when I'm turning to this side, I have to be slow and very strategic, that I can support myself because I might fall. Or the other question was asked by somebody, when they are turning the bed and they have to close their eyes, a short blackout. So those kind of description, they are very, very nice because they are narrowing down to the clinician's diagnosis. Then after that, even if you don't have this specialized equipment, you can put a patient to the examination bed in the clinic or in the hospital. If you know what you're looking for, you can see it by the eyes, because you just stand the patient, in a strategic way and observe the movement of the eyes. And most patients will try to close their eyes at that point. Just tell them to open their eyes so that you can see how the eyeball is moving. You'll end up concluding on what kind of balance issue it is there, what kind of vertigo it is there, and you'll be able to help this patient in rehabilitation.
What do you do? Is it medication? Because hearing you can hear, so
yes,
you even go into hearing aid.
Now, depending on the balance, now, let's just talk about the commonest balance issue or vertigo, which is called benign positional vertigo, or what you might see most doctors writing BPPV. Now, we do what we call canalith repositioning. Okay, that is just trying. Remember CT's question: what gets dislodged? You're trying to reposition to where they belong and where they have moved from. So by doing so, you're trying to treat or rehabilitate that business, that balance issue. And most patients, we have seen even some coming in wheelchair and some walking back, and because it is the vertigo is quite of a serious issue that patient has to prepare themselves on what next they're supposed to do, even if it's a step. So what normally happens is that we try to reposition, or what we call in medical terms is called Epley's maneuver. So we try to do that.
So this is surgical?
No. It is by hand. Okay. Because you know what it is. As per the history you took, you know the duration of the balance, the vertigo, how it lasts. Other cases can be treated by medicine. So if it is not our case, because sometimes it's not our case, we send back to the ENTs, we send them to your GP, we send them to your family physician, because it can be also as a heart condition also, where the BP is quite high and then the patient gets so disoriented. So it is quite of a teamwork that need to be done. But in most cases, you find that it is our work, and about 70-75%.
You'll be able to sort it out.
Yes.
Final question. Somebody's asking about ringing in the ear. Or sometimes you're in a vehicle and then the ears pop. Suddenly everything is so loud. You're in the same vehicle. What happens here?
Now, the ringing sound in the ear is called tinnitus. Okay? And it can be ocean-like sound, it can be cricket-like sound. People might you might hear, somebody saying, I think it's raining, but it's not actually raining.
Right.
So this sound, it's only an individual who can hear it. And it might be so loud that, city seated next here, and I'm the one having the tinnitus, the ringing sound. I'm wondering, maybe the loudness I'm hearing, maybe CT also is hearing it, but it is just you hear it. Now, one cause of that is the hearing problem. Second, wax impaction. 3 might be an ear infection that is there. Right. So it has to be checked also. If it's wax cleaned, good to go. Hearing problem, given the hearing aid, life goes on. An infection is treated.
So ukianza kusikia vitu zako, go see Richard Mwangi. Richard is a consultant audiologist and audiovestibular. He's been our guest, understanding hearing, and it's important because this Sunday, the 3rd of March, the world will be marking World Hearing Day. Thank you very much for joining us today, Richard.
Thank you very much.
We've heard and learnt a lot from you today.
Indeed. Welcome to my class.
Very good. If you'd like to get in touch with Richard in future, just talk to us. We'll put you in touch. Keep it here for more conversations. 8 a.m. Good morning.
Sugar and spice.
spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The weatherman has warned the country to brace for higher temperatures in the coming days amid the projected intensity of the ongoing rains. The Kenya Meteorological Department says the high temperatures which were recently recorded in major parts of the country will continue as long rainy season of March to May kicks off. The Meteorological Department, while releasing the weather forecast for the next 3 months, says these conditions should worry the health sector.
When you have a lot of water and the temperatures are higher, it also means that even health-wise, you may need to be careful because there are some vectors that require sufficient amounts of water in the optimum temperatures.
Negatives actually include the outbreaks of diseases, mostly of public health concern, like malaria is one of them. We've been struggling with cholera up to now, although it's partly not necessarily climate-oriented, but it could be a spillover from contamination of water flowing into the drinking water system.
The features that brought about the enhanced rainfall for October, November, December, which we observed into January. Some of the features are still in force. They are dying down, but they are still strong enough to enhance the rainfall.
The Kenya National Union of Teachers has called on the Teacher Service Commission to give intern teachers permanent and pensionable terms of service after working for a year instead of 2. Not First Vice National Chairperson Malel Langat urged the teachers' employer to endeavour to ensure all intern teachers are converted into permanent and pensionable within the first year of service. He spoke during the Imarisha Sacco annual delegates meeting in Kericho. Langat noted that the Employment Act 2007 Part 5.2 at the 3.4 speaks to discrimination as a violation of the fundamental labour right. Though he lauded the government for employing more teachers in 2023, he said the interns are having it rough. A report by the Controller of Budget has revealed that counties incurred 98.13 billion shillings in personal emoluments between July and December 2023. According to the first half county budget implementation review report, the amount constitutes 68.3% of the total recurrent expenditure of the period under review, with the rest of the 98.13 billion shillings earmarked for the recurrent vote going to operations and maintenance. This, the report says, is in contravention of Regulations 25(1)B of the Public Finance Management County Government's Regulations 2015, which sets a limit of the county government's expenditure on wages and benefits at 35% of the county's total revenue. The Boda industry has been mentioned as having great importance in the growth of the national economy, considering that it contributes 357 billion shillings every year due to the tax charged to approximately 1.4 million motorcyclists across the country. As a result, leaders including the representative of Waitaluk Ward in Trans Nzoia County, Furaha Lusweti, have encouraged Boda members to join social organizations and prioritize savings and investment to develop themselves economically.
Tukiangalia kama wana wa Waitaluk boda, je, kuna uwezekano sisi tunaweza kubehave tofauti na wale wengine? Sako ile ya maana sana yenye watu hawajuangi ni kwamba ni savings. Kwa hivyo hii ni vitu tunafanya and also looking forward kwamba hautaendesha hii boda forever. Hii pesa inaweza kukusaidia baadaye. Ile pesa yenye mtakuwa mnatoa peke yake haitawezesha kufanya mambo mengi is after some time, lakini utafanyaje tufike pale? Mimi naweza tenga pesa kidogo kutoka kwa specific nikaweza kuwa boost. Pia tukiwa tuko na members 50 ama 100, tuko na share capital yenye inaonekana, kiomba marafiki zangu tukuje tufanye harambee ili tukue na pesa na tukaweza kufanyia miradi tofauti ili tuweze kuendelea.
The Lusweti sector can also prosper even more if the leaders and members of these organizations pay attention to the good management of resources they get.
Na mimi ningependa mchukue kazi yenu kwamba ni kazi. Msisemange ati mimi ni boda tu. Na yeye amewaelezea the amount of money yenye inapita kwa mikono yenu on a daily basis. Ile tu problem kwamba hatuna discipline ya kuangalia hiyo pesa tunaitumia namna gani. Tukiwa na hiyo discipline, vile hao wanaendelea kutufundisha, hii pesa ni mingi sana ambazo tunaweza kutumia katika maisha yetu kuendelea mbele. If mnakuwa na moyo kama wangu, haki hiyo sako itakuwa. Hakuna mtu atakula pesa yenu, hiyo nawahakikishia kabisa.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
102.5 Spice FM. Kisumu.
Okay, a few minutes after 8 o'clock. Are we in the middle of traffic hour? Yes, we are. Is traffic crazy? No, it's not. Just a little bit of movement coming off of Outer Ring. It's not ending up in any kind of traffic, but we're seeing that bumper-to-bumper situation just past Survey out towards Wangari Maathai and Murang'a Road. Probably that's the worst that we're going to see this morning. A little bit of it coming in on Limuru Road, and that's tight as you get towards the city centre as well. Let's look at coming in on North Airport Road, the Northern Bypass coming in through Runda. That's probably hold up for just a few minutes and then we'll be out of it in no time. Cabana's going towards North Airport Road and touching on Outer Ring just a little bit is also traffic-less. Keeping an eye on things this morning, shall we talk? Let's do it on SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
8. How are you doing? This is the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. Thank you very much, everybody who's tuned in on Spice FM, on KTN Home, on YouTube, on Facebook. And like we keep saying, everybody who even contributes to conversations online, offline, people who meet us and say, yeah. So I was following this conversation and give us a perspective of some conversations. And even saying, I think you should hold a conversation on this and the other. Many of them do that, City, don't you?
They do.
There are people who stop you and tell you, you need to do.
Very prescriptive.
You need to.
Some even insist. They say you must.
Okay. It's important. We appreciate that a lot. Whenever you stop us, you just see someone and say, Guy, Eric, I think there's a conversation that is important to be had in the country, and we think the Situation Room should have that conversation. That's how we end up having all these conversations and all these guests coming here, because we know that these are the conversations that we ought to be having as a country.
Because they're actually essentially people driven in the real sense of the word. Someone telling you, I listened, you ought to have considered this. Next time when you speak to a guest similar to this other one, make sure that you look at this
angle and these perspectives. Yes, indeed. Always appreciating of that. Do you have a plan? ICEA Lion tells you, boss, I'm sure you have a plan. You just maybe not knowing how to put your plan together, how to speak the plan, or how to act on your plan. And this is where we come in. Why do they do that, City?
Well, for a very simple reason. If you do not plan, as they say, you're planning to fail. And why do we say this? It's because a plan is a path that you have charted out. Meaning you move from this point to the next and eventually to the end that you see. That's the plan.
That's the plan.
And the beauty of having it is that in between, if there's need, you could always change it. If it doesn't exist, there is nothing to change. There is nothing to adjust. And chances are, there is no clarity as to where you want to go.
All right.
Or the goals you wish to achieve.
All right. Yes. Plan at icealion.co.ke. Send them an email or follow them on social media, ICEA Lion. Ask them any question, they'll respond to you. Go to their website, icealion.co.ke. Ndu?
Yes.
Have you noticed that CT is different today?
It's the hat he wears today. It's not the hat he wore yesterday.
I'm actually on the shirt.
Yes, it's a plaid shirt.
I have never seen City in any other kind of prints.
Except African.
Yes. Yeah. This march has started on a high.
Well, look at it this way.
Here we go.
Well, just keep looking.
Look at it this way. EcoBank is the Pan-African Bank.
Yes, it is. It must be. I mean, 35 different markets across Africa, and also looking at presence in 4 countries outside of the continent. And it's fantastic because it doesn't really matter where you are. You plug into EcoBank from where you reside and decide you're going to move tomorrow. You don't have to shut down your bank. You don't have to shut down your account. You just go in and you get into the system and continue as though you never left. And realize that, you know what, instead of getting people to shut down everything and pack up and go, at least let your banking remain seamless. At least let your transactions just go with the flow, as you would, you know, go in and start a new life. Hey, so plug into the system and you're fine regardless of where you go. They've realized that it's a better way to do business, and because it's a better way, it's a better Africa.
It's a better Africa. Better Africa, better you. When you hear of 4x4 vehicles and off-roading, what comes to mind? This huge car, right?
Mud.
Big tires. Mud. Car raised. Shock absorbers just... breathing, you know? Maybe it even has the exhaust that are up, not down, right? And then now you think of the person who's driving it. It's a big person. Our next guest is a big person, drives big cars. Her name is Winnie Maru. Winnie is a 4x4 and off-road enthusiast. Good morning, Winnie.
Good morning.
Welcome to March.
Oh, thank you. Welcome to the Women's Month.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And that's part of the reason why you're here. So you are a 4x4 enthusiast. What does that mean?
So in short, it means that I love those big cars that Ndu has talked about. I love going off-road, not sticking to tarmac, going to where tarmac ends. That's really, in short, what it means, yes.
Going beyond the tarmac.
Going beyond the tarmac,
and
yes.
getting stuck in the mud.
Yes, getting stuck in the mud.
All right.
That's fun.
That's what we'll be talking about shortly, to get to understand that city. Please welcome her with the day's proverb.
Yes, that I will. Our proverbs for the whole of this week have been from the country of Benin. Okay. Death is certain, but does not make one sleep in the grave.
Death is certain, but does not make one sleep in the grave. Winnie, what's the interpretation of this one?
I'm a Christian, so I look at it from that, from a religious angle, that you only go there for a very short time as we wait for the return of Christ. So I wouldn't call it sleep, because sleep is something that you go to bed and you wake up. But death, you really don't wake up. It's gone, you know, until Christ himself tells you to wake up. There's no waking up. So I look at it from that angle. Yes.
So
it is certain, but it is not sleep. Just as he has said, it's not sleep.
Isn't it fascinating? The way proverbs resonate with the people. The diversity of resonation is as diversity as mankind or people kind. I mean, I had not looked at it that way at all. Yes. But it's good, thank you.
So how had you looked at it?
Well, you're going to die anyway, so... But you don't have to go practicing death by going to sleep in the grave.
Well, there are people who practice death. They actually sleep completely. It's hard to wake them up. I know a few.
In the grave, though?
No. As in waking them up on an ordinary morning is difficult.
You know a couple?
Yeah, I know a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, waking them up is not difficult at all.
There's just very heavy sleep.
No, it's not even heavy sleep. There are people who are determined not to wake up.
They're hearing you, Winnie.
Yes, they're listening.
Ask them to tell you whether they can actually hear you at that moment.
They hear you.
They hear you.
Okay. Yes, and you turn and they turn. How are they turning if they don't hear you?
They will tell. They'll give you feedback after this show.
Yes.
When next you meet them and try to wake them up, they'll be like, nilikuwa nasikia. So you, Winnie, and other people,
yes,
at this particular time,
yes,
other women are participating in an off-road competition. All of you driving one vehicle or in one vehicle.
Yes.
Take us through that.
Okay, so this event is called the Rhino Charge. The Rhino Charge is an event that has been held for the last 34 years. It happens every Madaraka Day weekend. So luckily this year, Madaraka Day is actually falling on a Saturday. But sometimes it falls, it can be on a Friday or Tuesday. So usually during that weekend, the Rhino Charge happens. The Rhino Charge is an event that is done to raise funds for conservation, to protect Kenya's water towers. It started first in the Aberdares. That was in 1989. There was 31 cars competing in 1989. And at the time, of course, it was to stop the human wildlife conflict, the rhino population within the Aberdares. But the Aberdares has been fenced off. They've moved to the Mount Kenya ecosystem, and now they're in the Mau. So for several years, for many years, me and my friends have been attending the rhino charge for at least, the last 20 years. So we go every year as spectators, and it's fun because we are, first of all, we are members of a club called Bundu Rovers. And if you know Bundu Rovers, it's a Land Rover club. It's a 4x4 club. In fact, the only registered 4x4 club in Kenya. So we're a registered club. In fact, we had our AGM on Saturday. So from that interest, that grew. And over the years of attending, then, we decided last year, why don't we actually enter our team? What is it that these people are doing that we can't do? Of course, majority of the teams are men. There's very few totally female teams. We do know, in fact, one has actually been paired with us as our mentors. It's called Bush Babes. They're car number 39. So last year we registered. The new entrants have to register on the 1st of September. So we registered. We are car number 50. As you can see from my T-shirt, where team name is Zambarao, Heels on Wheels. Zambarao is the color purple. And I'm actually glad that as you start the month of March, purple is actually the color of women and the month of March. So I'm really glad that I am here on the 1st of March. We are a purple team. Zambarao is actually purple in Swahili, Heels on Wheels, and we're car number 50. So, of course, every team has to raise a certain amount of money to compete, because remember, the objective is conservation. So, we are here, we've built the car. The car that we have is a Range Rover, the 2-door classic, a V8 engine. So yes, it's loud with, just as she said, exhausts up there. It's really loud.
Petrol driven?
Yes, petrol, of course, yes. For this, you need a lot of power. And just as City, I heard him say earlier, they drive through trees and rocks and all that. But the idea is to ensure that the communities around there also understand the need for conservation. And I'll even give an example of Bundu Rovers, just as a club as ourselves. Every trip that we have done, even when we go to the outdoors, there's an element of CSR to it, and a lot of it has conservation. We've planted trees, we've fenced off, like some years back we went to Jipe. We fenced off the school there because of the elephants that were cutting through the school, so kids can't go to school because there's elephants. So we did a perimeter wall for them. We plant trees wherever it is we go. We've been fortunate enough that Kenya Forest Service has given us a portion at Kinale Forest that will be going in 2 weeks' time.
So you have this responsibility.
Yes.
So even this club, the Bundu Rovers and all the others 4x4 groupings, they're male dominated.
Yes.
So what drove you into it?
Just interest.
What made you feel that you want to be driving these big cars? I mean, what is it?
Interest. Yes, a lot of
Where
it has
did it come
to do.
from? Is it your upbringing, neighborhood as you grew up?
Well, let's say that, in fact, and I look at it from a holistic point of view, and not just me as Winnie, but just generally everybody. A lot of this interest that is in 4x4s, a lot of it has been driven mainly due to rural-urban migration. So you come from a setting where there's trees and there's a lot of nature around you, and then you move to an urban setting where that is not there. So what happens is you then go out of your way to look for that kind of
for the bush.
Yes, the bush. Where you can actually be one with nature and commune with nature. Because you can see in the way we have a lot of concrete dwellings around here. Sometimes you just want to be out there and chill and just enjoy nature. Now, a lot of those places you will find are in rugged landscapes where then you can't go with your ordinary car. So that has definitely built an interest in that. Yes, so with time, because as I said, like Bundu Rovers is a Land Rover club, in as much as now we do have people with other mix of cars that I shall not mention, but we are largely Land Rover. So yes, so I drive a Land Rover. Actually, all of us in that team do have Land Rovers.
Why Land Rover?
We like the Defender. It's a hardy car. It can do the bush, very well. It is. It's a fantastic car.
Do you ever get up and do a bush trip by yourself? Like, can you get up, get into the vehicle and feel, I need to unwind. Get into your vehicle, go look for a tree, climb a tree, look for a rock, hide under the rock, park there, sleep there, come back after a weekend.
Yes, I have done that. Not very far, not very much bush, but I have done that. Yes, a couple of times. But I have a family, so we would do that with the kids. So we introduced them to that kind of life pretty early. In the same way, I think I also grew up. Yes, I also grew up going to parks. Our parents took us to a number of these parks. So we did travel quite a bit into the parks. And then you get to realize that as time goes by, you need a proper car. So probably maybe that's where it started. So I have family. So
it's a costly hobby.
It is a costly hobby. You're right. Yes, I mean, just you for a lot of these places, you can't go into a showroom, buy a car, and take it to some of the kind of places that would ordinarily go to. And those are what you call stock cars. So you'd have to, change your shocks, change your suspension sometimes. Have big tires. Because your ordinary everyday tires are, like probably maybe a radial tire. So you'd have to have like mud terrains, you'd have to have all-terrain tires. So yes, it is a costly hobby. But just like all, I don't think there's a hobby that is free or cheap. I mean, I imagine you play tennis.
They are cheap hobbies.
Have you tried sleeping?
Sleeping, you just actually have to close your eyes.
Just that.
Yes. You don't even have to find a bed.
No, you don't.
And you enjoy that.
Exactly. When you say that there's a minimal amount that one must raise, like an entry fee.
Yes.
How much is it?
So for beginners who are like for us in that category, we the minimum that we must raise is 750,000 to be able to participate. Yes.
Okay.
But people bring in, like last year, I think the team that raised the highest, I think, was car number 44, and they raised something like 62 million. Yes.
How are you able to ensure that this money that's raised from this activity actually goes towards, the thing that you're raising it for? Because there's two aspects to this, really, isn't it? When we see this off-road challenge, it's fun to watch. I mean, for those who are on the other side of the steering, or maybe outside the vehicle, it's really fun to watch and see the whole drama around it. But then also it's being done for a good cause. So there's a fun aspect, but then there's also the point of making sure that there's conservation happening. After the races, as it were, who then is responsible for making sure that, what you set out to do is actually done?
So the money that you raise, you actually channel it to the Rhino Arc Trust.
Okay.
Yes. So it's, so even as we get a sponsor, the sponsor can decide maybe a certain amount can go to the car or the team. Usually that's like 10 or maximum like 20%, but 70% of that actually goes to Rhino Arc because it's very clear that you're raising money towards that cause and not necessarily to yourselves as a team. Yes.
How do you determine the route that, the tortuous route that you must navigate through?
And that's a very good question. So what happens is nobody knows. In fact, even as we speak, we do not know the venue for this year.
Who does?
So the organizers alone. So that venue is given, or rather the general area will be revealed to all teams like a week to the event.
Why?
But
to make it as challenging. Yes, of course, it's within our borders. To make it as challenging as possible. So a week to the event, let me give a good example. So you can either be told that, so all of you'll all be given the information at the same time, and you'll be told something like it is in Samburu. So that's a week to the event. And you get your route notes like 5-6 days to the event. So Samburu is huge. So they could easily say, the place that you will be reporting to pick up your route notes could be maybe Isiolo. So you pick up your route notes from there on, a few days to the event. You pick up your route notes and there will be the base headquarters at a certain place. So you get there like 3 or 4 days to the event, to the charge. Now the night before, that is on Friday, all teams, after scrutineering is done, all teams will then assemble.
What is scrutineering?
So scrutineering is where now the car, is checked to ensure, just like the way that the rally one does. They just check that the car has all the basics in terms of safety. It has, first aid kits. It has everything that is required. The GPS monitor will be fixed on the car because they have to monitor as you move through the course. Then, they will check which category. So they'll check a number of requirements that you have met, because there are 3 categories. For us, we're entering the unmodified category. So there's unmodified, there's modified, and then there's super modified. So that you're actually within that category, because then if you have done a bit more changes to your car, you would move from unmodified to modified. So after scrutineering is done that evening, at 5 p.m., all the cars are put into what is called parc fermé. So all the cars are parked where the judges can see them, and you're called for a briefing. At that briefing, the teams are then given the map, the GPS coordinates. So you have to go and plot them on a map. You're
given coordinates.
You're given just coordinates. You're just given coordinates.
And this is 30 degrees north.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
and west.
Yes, south, north, exactly. So you have to sit down and plot them on a map, because in the morning at 5 o'clock, you will then be driving to where it is now. You will be starting the course that morning, the charge. And there's 13 checkpoints. So the idea, the winner is the person who does those checkpoints in a straight line in the shortest distance.
Straight line. Is it going to be a straight line
of
when
course,
you're driving?
We all know it's
over
practically
the rocks
exactly
inside.
That's precisely the point. That between here and that checkpoint, which is a straight line, there's like a mountain here. There's virtually anything here in between. So it's how far out you will go to reach that checkpoint.
Go through the mountain.
If you can't go through the mountain, you're really the winner. Yeah.
If you can do what I beg
if you can go through that mountain, you'll be the winner. Yes, yeah. So if one checkpoint is here and one checkpoint is there, it's deciding. So maybe one can go this way to get here, or go up to here to get there, or far out, or I can go up to Likoni Road or Jogo Road. It's how far you will go to get to the checkpoint, maybe, which is probably across the highway.
It could just be a kilometer.
In fact, chances are it's usually just 2 or 3, because
but it will take you 4 or 5 kilometers just trying to go around.
Which 4 or 5? It could take you 20. You never know. Yes. I mean, the whole course is on 100 kilometer square, so that's 10 by 10. So in total, it's really not more than 20. But you will take the whole competition is on a period of 10 hours. And if after 10 hours, so we start at 7, so if by 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock you're not done, they will really just come and just get you and
tell you that it is okay.
Yeah, it's
How
over.
many people are there in a team?
So there are 6 people in a team. The minimum you can have is 2, that is a driver and a navigator, and then 4 runners. So these runners are the people who are outside the car, because the driver and the navigator are inside the car. The runners are outside the car. So the runners are the people who guide the driver, tell you, kuja pande, kanyaga hapa, here. Because when the driver is in the car, they might not necessarily be able to see that, there's a cliff or, a gorge.
At the edge of a cliff.
Yes, exactly. So you have a maximum of 4 runners. You can have a maximum of 4 runners. You can choose to have 1 or 2. It's really up to you. So, yes, so the runners are outside the car. So they are running, either in front of the car, behind the car, but those are the people who are really guiding the driver. So our team is made up of 6 people.
Why do you need a navigator then? These runners are navigating.
Well, the navigator is a person who will tell you where it is you're going, because the navigator has plotted it on the map to say, we're going north, or we're going east, or we're going west. But then even that east and west, what is on the ground, vitu kwa ground ni different, you see. So you've plotted it here. But what you actually see on the ground, if there's huge boulders and huge rocks, you see, so the runner will be able to see probably a little bit ahead. If they run ahead of the car, in fact, that's why they're called runners. They can run ahead of the car and say, by the way, that route, I don't think we can pass. Maybe let's, come back a little and, try and navigate through a bush or some other place and get to the destination.
Are you allowed to move anything, the runners?
Well, the boulders are as big as a building, so how much can you move? They're
grass, a fallen tree, things like that.
No, you can just leave the environment. Why would you want to move it?
The point of the question is, must you leave the environment as you found it? Are you navigating through what is already there? Or can you move things that can be moved to your advantage?
You can move things to your advantage. So what happens is, part of the money that is raised Every entrant pays what is called the land access fee. The land access fee goes to the local community. So that is,
what percentage is it of the total amount collected?
It is actually all the entrants pay what is called land access fee. LAF it goes to the local community, yes. So every person who's coming in, whether competitors, whether spectators, everybody pays land access fee. Every vehicle that's driving into the charge for the event for that weekend pays land access fee.
How much do you pay for viewing?
As a spectator? As a spectator, you now, depending on if you want to come in as a self-drive, so if you come in, if you drive your car, then you pay the land access fee. Land access fee is 10,000 shillings. Now, if you come in, there's people who do, the overland trucks.
Yeah.
So you can actually just come, pay the operator who's, taking people to the charge, because they're licensed operators that do that. So you'll simply just pay, because the operator then will cater for your transport, your accommodation, your food, your meals and everything. So he will already have paid the land access fee because you're just being carried.
Are there vehicles that are not allowed?
Put it this way. There's no vehicle that is not allowed. But the chances of you getting there with, say, for instance, a Vitz are virtually...
I wasn't thinking Vitz.
So nature disallows some vehicles.
No,
yes, you need a
I wasn't thinking Vitz.
Okay.
I was thinking bulldozer.
Okay.
That's the question I want to ask after this break. Yeah, because can you your runners, can they come with power saws, cut trees, or they clear path for you? Can you have bulldozers, like he's saying, or wenching a rock off the side and then you pass? It's 29 minutes to 9. Our guest this morning is Winnie Maru. She's a 4x4 off-road enthusiast. She's also part of the Zambarao Heels on Wheels. Car number?
50.
50.
Yes.
Okay. And you're participating in the Rhino Charge. And the unique part of this is that it's all women. It's an all-women team.
An all-women team, yes. An African women team.
An all-African women team.
Yes.
Hi. We'll be back shortly with this conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Some very nice, mature music.
It really took me back to my days, and I can just feel again and enjoy.
And cloudy conditions in Nairobi, highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 27 as well. In a sunny Nakuru at 18, it's 18 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 26, while Eldoret will go to highs of 25. Today the sun is up at 16. It's sunny at 27 in Mombasa with highs of 33, and Malindi will see highs of 33, where it's mostly sunny at 29. It's cloudy at 21 in Kisumu with highs of 30, and in Kakamega, cloudy morning at 20 with highs of 29 and lows of 17. Kampala is sunny at 21 with highs of 28, and Dar es Salaam will see highs of 33, where it's sunny at 26. Johannesburg is sunny at 16 with highs of 27, while into Mogadishu 30 degrees and sunny, highs of 33, while Addis Ababa at 16 is sunny, we'll see highs of 24. Lagos is cloudy at 27 with highs of 33, and Kinshasa partly sunny at 24, we'll see highs of 33.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. And right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So not a busy morning today. Still on the thicker superhighway as you come into the city. That's where we'll see the most of it. That's the only hold up. Well, that and a little bit on Kiambu Road today as you get towards Muthaiga Square. That is where it is the busiest. We saw some traffic, then tried to get through from Kawa to the northern bypass. But again, nothing to worry about. Just a smidgen of a hold up and you'll be fine as you get towards the city. Okay, then also James Gishoro. I don't know quite what happens on Friday. Traffic just seems to disappear. Until then, 5:33 on the dot comes back. Friday morning, not too much of an issue anywhere you look, really. But we're going to keep an eye on things. Let's see what happens as we come to the top of the hour. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The next 24 minutes with Winnie.
That would be fun.
Even the line of charge is 10 hours.
Surely. Have fuel.
Yeah. 4x4 and the rising enthusiasm of these 4x4 off-road challenges in the country. And just looking at it in terms of sport, motorsport has, grown and developed in this country to a great extent. The FIA is back with the WRC Safari Rally. We see the Safari Rally and the other circuits taking place. We see now these 4x4s. We see the development. What's driving people towards this? Can we say is it people with more disposable income? Is it people looking for a thrill? What is it that's...
Yes, so just as I mentioned, a lot of it has to do with people wanting to go back to nature, to be one with nature, to, just to have that freedom, fresh air. Remember during COVID when we were all locked in, our houses, and we couldn't wait for, the place to open up, and a lot of the people who went out actually just went out to, open spaces, green spaces. So a lot of it is driven by that. Now, when you think about some of the places that you can really enjoy yourself, like camping and all that, a lot of those places are rugged. So yes, you'd need a 4x4 to get to some of those destinations if you don't want to simply just go and be in a hotel. Because I think a lot of the people have done, the hotel, the beach, but how much can you do that? And how often can you do that, But the thing about, let's say, for instance, going to a park, every time you go to a park, and I'm talking about this from a tourism perspective, because that's really my sector. Every time you go to a park or any reserve, it is never the same. I have been to Masai Mara countless times, but every time the experience is different. So that's the thing about going, camping or going to the outdoor. So yes, you could say maybe there's, more disposable income, but people, I think, are just looking for something that's different. Doing concerts and music in town, can sometimes just be repetitive. But, you go there, carry a couple of your friends, just go choma nyama outside there. Enjoy, sleep under the stars,
right,
so to speak.
Expose yourself to the vagaries of nature. Is this regulated? From a safety perspective, like anytime, somebody goes into these boondocks, they could be exposing themselves into anything. First of all, they're getting into a forest or a bush. There's also the risk of just them starting off forest fires. There's a risk of them going there and disturbing nature. And all you're trying to do is conservation, and then they go there and they're not doing that. There's a chance of them going there and exposing themselves to this nature, and then a lion just passes by and decides to
say hello.
Yeah, to say hello. Or just to slap you. You shake your dab. So is there any structure that basically governs this?
Absolutely. So every park, every KWS park, of course, has rules and regulations. Even as you enter, all the parks have a sign at the front of the do's and the don'ts that you can do within the park. And of course, starting a fire is the one that you cannot do, whatever the circumstance. Reserves have the same. The forests have the same. So I really don't think that there's a place. Even the conservancies that are private have their own rules and regulations. That there are even places that they've designated where you can camp, because you can't just camp anywhere within that conservancy. There are places that now are designated as probably picnic sites or campsites. So you just can't go and do anything as you so wish. Of course, litter has been a major issue, and partly also why the rules for Rhino Charge changed, and now you can't just wake up and just attend the event as you so wish, was because of that. It needed to be regulated. There was a lot of litter that was happening all over the place. So now it is important that you register. So once the portal is opened, you can register as a spectator to attend, and you have to be attached to a camp operator. So that then that camp operator, the responsibility falls on that camp operator, that the people who are within your camp, were they, did they litter, were they making noise, did they cut trees and stuff like that, so that then we are able to leave the environment just as we found it, or better than we found it.
But this is working very well for an organization such as the Rhino Arc, which has been there for many years, so they have experience. But then there are all these other, small groups and small events that come up. How are they governed? How do we make sure that they're doing all these kind of things?
So last weekend there was an event, the 254x4, that happened in Athi River in Lukenya. And same thing. So there's an entrance fee that it happened at the Athi Kapiti Conservancy. And there's an entrance fee, and that entrance fee goes into ensuring that, there are marshals, there are people who are walking around. There was places that, you couldn't throw litter. In fact, you couldn't throw litter at all. So, there was bins. So you had to throw your bins there because, we want to be able to come back to this place and enjoy what is happening at this place. So it is a culture that the people need to be educated, and a lot of awareness needs to be created. But I think now, by and large, you can see Kenyans have become more aware that that you can't throw litter anywhere. In fact, I like the fact that for KWS, to enter any park, you can't come in with a plastic bottle, So that way, come with your own bottles and you can't throw it anywhere. So, if we can then get, especially issues on plastic, just going across the board to literally everywhere, I think we'll have made a lot more strides.
Every time I hear of Rhino Charge and I look at what they have done with the education of the communities around the places they are seeking to conserve, it speaks very loudly of how it is the citizenry can actually go about the business of doing something that really needs doing and hasn't been done. I have deliberately left the word government from my conversation. Now, with every good thing, there's always the idea of how do you expand this beyond the borders of where it's currently at. Now, in the years that Rhino Charge has been in existence, how many parts of this country has it been to?
Several. It's been to Rift Valley, it's been to Kajiado, it's been to Samburu. Yes.
We're still in the Rift Valley. Go on.
Okay, when I said Rift Valley, I meant like the Baringo Cabernet side.
We're still in the Rift Valley.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just say yes, the more of the northern part where
the question I want to ask is there a specific type of terrain that you're looking for? And if that is the case, then it can only be found in certain places.
That is true.
And then question number 2, would it then not be Rhino Charge if you found terrain that wasn't quite as mountainous and tortuous and rocky, and yet still trying?
Yes. Yes, and I'll give a good example. The Mount Elgon Charge, 4x4 Charge, happens in October in Trans Nzoia County, in Mount Elgon. So that particular charge, if you look at it, the difference, in fact, between it and the Rhino Charge, it's in a wet kind of environment. So that one is a purely muddy affair. It's a very, very muddy affair. So a lot of these, so there's been smaller versions of, you could say, like the Rhino Charge, like even what happened last weekend at Athi. That's like a mini kind of a charge, and it happened in Lukenya. So it's very rocky and hilly there. So it kind of gives you the same kind of experience, but at a smaller scale. The Mount Elgon 4x4 is also another one. I think even there's one that happens in Nandi also. It's in wet. The ecosystem is very different from the dry areas that we've talked about in the plains. So a lot of that one is it's a very muddy affair.
Okay, now, I want to come to the vehicles. You said there were categories.
Yes.
Okay. They are the ones which are not enhanced. They're the ones which are enhanced. They're the ones which are very enhanced.
Yes.
Now, even the one which is not enhanced actually is enhanced.
True.
Because you actually can't go to the showroom or a lot and say that one, and then you.
That is true.
What does it cost to get it to that first stage where it's basic in terms of Kenyan shillings? Or is it one of these things one doesn't want to talk about?
Well, I can tell you, you can't even put a figure to it, to be very honest, because, I mean, even for us, we're still doing things. Last week, we're changing our fuel injection system. So, every day you're trying to, put in more money. So, like, that is not something that we had envisaged before. We hadn't foreseen that. But now, because of, the times that we've, done our practice sessions, then we're having problems. So we're saying, let's enhance this. So let's just say it's a moving target. It really is a moving target.
Let's just say that talking about money sometimes is difficult.
That as well. That is.
And talk about amounts that may appear to be obscene.
Yes.
So we will leave that at that.
Are there 4x4 challenges that are held in the region or across the region? Like, you see the way we see in the rally cars. So there's the East African Classic, there's a Safari Rally, and then we have Kenyan drivers, Ugandan drivers, there's a Uganda Rally, something like that. Have you ever participated in a 4x4 challenge outside of Kenya?
I am not aware of any that happens across. I think in the region, because even for a lot of these events, we do have our neighbors coming to participate in these events, So, people come from, all over the African continent, like, the Rhino Charge, people coming from very far, up to Australia. Of course, South Africans are just as many. So, from the UK. But even for the other smaller ones, like even Mount Elgon, people are coming from Uganda, people are coming from across the borders. So, probably we could be at a more advanced stage to then create this.
You're in the tourism space.
Yes.
So this is a product.
Yes.
It's a tourism product that can be packaged as a tourism product.
Okay.
Right? Is there any conversation of that sort? Like saying, we have all these 4x4 off-road challenges, encouraging the groups to set up the challenges and then inviting the tourists enthusiasts, who are those adrenaline junkies, just to come and know that Kenya is a place that they can do this?
I would imagine that would be a conversation that the Rhino Arc Trust would have, but I do know that.
Why not your Bundu Rovers? Why not the others?
Okay. Yeah. In fact, Bundu Rovers as a club, we have partnered with the Land Rover Club in Uganda. And we've also done a few trips. We've visited the club in Tanzania, the Land Rover Club in Tanzania. So at least for us as a Land Rover Club, we have had partnerships with our neighbors at the same. But for the Rhino Charge, what I know is, they do have people, competitors coming from all over the world to do it. But I am also aware that KTB and Magical Kenya have given sponsorship, at least in years past, when things were not as bad as they are now. They've given sponsorship for the event, whether it is sponsoring one of the checkpoints, but they have been there on the ground. So maybe it would be, as you mentioned, to, make it bigger and take it out and actually just put it as one of the products that, as we sell Bush and Beach, we can as well sell it under Adventure.
That's my point. All right.
Under Adventure.
You are in that space.
Yeah.
You are in both spaces.
Yes.
Right? There's an opportunity here for KTB to get aware, to see this as a product, to package it as a product, and then to help local organizers and local entrepreneurs to create the product that attracts.
That's true. We as a team...
What would it take? What would it take, for example, to get a Magical Kenya sponsorship, or Magical Kenya actually just adding it into the list of the things that you can come and do? When you come to Magical Kenya, this is what you can do. Go to the beach, go to the parks, visit communities, enjoy the culture, but also go outdoors, sleep under the sun, drive into the rocks.
Incidentally, we as a team have actually approached Magical Kenya. We have approached KTB. I especially been in that space. I said these are one of the people that I am looking forward to have them sponsor us. So, they can sponsor us as a team, or even sponsor maybe to come in as a sponsor at the Rhino Arc level. But yes, I get what you're saying, that it should be included as one of the things on the calendar. Yes, and probably we can have that conversation, I guess, also with Rhino Arc. Yes. And
I think it's interesting, because then it's something that starts out as a hobby, then could actually grow into something that then would bring about an element of responsibility when then it came to marketing the country within the country. Unfortunately, a lot of the marketing that happens for Kenya is looking for tourists to come from outside the country in, whereby there's so much that can be seen and experienced here in Kenya for Kenyans. And it sounds, when we talk about the money that you have to spend on getting there, it's elite. It is, but then there's so much to be seen around the country. So what is a hobby then also could be a responsibility when it comes to then marketing Kenya within Kenya. And then one must also ask, would that be something that you would be able to walk hand on this side hobby, hand on the other side education, in terms of what really Kenya does have to offer, and taking it away from, you've been to different parts of the country, how much further can you go and have that, have the eyeballs of Kenyans in terms of what's really available here made then available to them.
In fact, the beauty about a lot of all these challenges, they all have a conservation and an environmental angle to it. As I mentioned, the Mount Elgon 4x4 has been very fundamental in greening that part of the country, and simply talking to communities in why it is necessary for them to plant trees and just take care of the environment, so that it's not just people coming from the outside to come and tell you that this is what you need to do, but also realizing that you as a local community need to then plant trees, whether they're indigenous, but just take care, because this is something that it will affect all of us in the long run. But as you rightly say, it is something that all Kenyans should get involved. And as I said, a long time, many Kenyans used to attend the Rhino Church. Before the rules, changed and then made it a bit restrictive. It was an event that was attended by thousands and thousands of people. I mean, people would just wake up and, where is it? It's in Kabarnet, and people just wake up and drive there. And as I said, and a lot of what you're paying for was going into conservation. So at the domestic front, I think Kenyans do know. Maybe along the way, people forgot about it. But yes, there's work to be done in that area. I agree.
Do you have people coming from outside the country to participate in the Rhino Church? Very
many. A lot of those entrants for a lot of those cars are foreigners. Yes.
They don't have Rhino Charge where they come from?
Probably, I don't
know. I know they don't have rhinos, that's for sure.
Kangaroo Charge.
Kangaroo Charge.
No, I think our terrain is kind of good. Yes, for this kind of event, because people come from the UK. I think the UK have something, maybe, I wouldn't say similar, but it is, but it's not as challenging as ours. Ours is really, really challenging. So people come in. And Australia is very big on 4x4, but you'll find Australians also come for this event. So
I'm still stuck on this. I'm just seeing the opportunity, let me not call it lost, the opportunity here for the Ministry of Sports to latch onto and actually see that this is something that can grow into a big thing. Yes, there are people who are investing, just like the cars that Ian Duncan drives in the Safari Rally cannot be compared to cars that other motorists drive in the rally. But they are different classes. But there's what it brings. There's what that rallying does to the country, to the psyche, to the marketing of the country, to everything else, to the development of a sport. Same thing. Winnie and her friends could afford to do extra modification for their vehicles, but we'll come in there and watch and see and learn and enjoy the terrain. And it's a big opportunity, I think.
Perhaps that is why, at this point in time, we are there, and this could be the time that then it then comes out to that space, because, maybe prior, up until then, it wasn't, maybe it wasn't looked at from that angle. So, yes, so maybe we are the ones who will then get it out into those spaces and get... as you say, the Ministry of Sports. I wouldn't really call it, because you see, it hasn't been taken as a sports event. It's taken as
a conservation event.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Where is the Ministry of Environment, of Culture, of Sports, of Tourism? I mean, look at it, all those things.
Cross-cutting.
Yes.
Is there any part of this country where there are no vehicles?
In Lamu, for instance.
There's one vehicle, but the point I'm trying to make is this. Well, if you go to Mkowe, that is the mainland,
yes,
you will find.
Yes.
When Eric talked about sports, this kicked off an idea in my mind, and I was thinking about the school sports that we have. Every region has their sports, then the winners come to the national. And it's a big thing. Now, if you want to grow an interest, you start it in the local area with what they can manage.
Yeah.
That's why I asked about the vehicles.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be this monster of 4x4. No, it just has to be. So they're enthusiasts with what they have and what they can afford. Imagine the sort of competition if it started and every region sort of like has their thing. And you know that if you do this, you get on to the next level. You go to the sub-county or the ward. I'm simply thinking of growing a sport and using a model that has worked with other things so that you grow that interest. Because enthusiasts for something like the Rhino Charge are all over the country. They're just limited. Because someone feels, I can't afford a humongous 4x4, so I'm out of it. What if you afford something that they can? Something that is manageable at whatever level?
I guess it's an opportunity. It is an opportunity.
It's staring at us because really, the moment you make it very, very elitist and it's only for a certain class, yes, then suddenly the opportunity
is lost.
Your lockouts.
Yes.
Yes, because that person with the teeny-weeny little car will not have a teeny-weeny little car all their lives. They let them use that one to improve and to grow the enthusiasm so they can do more.
In fact, that is precisely the reason. My team, we're the most ordinary. We don't come from rich families. We don't have access, to the kind of monies that some of these teams have. We are very ordinary, and that was the reason that we wanted to come in and show that even basic people, and we are crowdfunding, right. Friends, family, we are knocking doors, asking sponsors, asking a lot of all these, Kenyan companies, come and support us, as your fellow Kenyans, just to show that this can be done by what you'd call, ordinary people, just doing something ordinary, yes. So that's the whole idea.
It's a Patrick Njiro moment. This is what Patrick Njiro did to rally. So it opened up and people thought, okay, all right.
I can do this.
So you can we can see beyond Voldegard and we can see our own.
Yes.
Patrick Njiro driving that Kadatsan and finishing the rally and feeling our guy finished the rally. And it's a big thing. So it's a big opportunity. A message for you from Siaya County: bring the Rhino Charge or bring the 4x4 sport to Siaya Share.
Okay. Another one to bring it to Trans Nzoia, and the question is that how far across the country, can you go? So
well, if there's space,
and
there's a
Mount Elgon
terrain,
is in Trans Nzoia, is it?
Yes, Mount Elgon is in Trans Nzoia. Yes, if there's space and there's a terrain, why not? I guess it can go anywhere.
Any part of this country where there's no space.
There's a lot of places that there's no space.
Like where, for instance?
I mean, all this housing plan that you guys are trying to do is going to take houses.
At Nairobi gonna space.
At Nairobi gonna space.
Ya kufanya Rhino Charge.
Have you tried to go to Mombasa Road when there's traffic? That's a terrain, my friend.
Or rather, the potholes on our roads are enough for you to enter 4x4. Yeah.
How can people support you then?
Good. So people can support us. We have a pay bill number. It is 222-111. And the account number, as I said, we are account number 50. Our account number is 50-50-50-0 or 50-50-500. That's our account number. We are really appealing to Kenyans. Please come support us. We are Kenyan just like you. Yes, please support us. That way, then we make sure that this sport is something that we can all get involved in, we can all do. And remember, whatever it is you support us with goes to conservation.
Okay.
So that's the most important. So 222-111, account number 50-50-500.
All right. Say hello to your what are you? Are you the navigator or the driver?
Yes, so I am the navigator. The driver is one, Agnes.
So you have
Mwangi.
to know how to read maps.
Yes, I am reading how to know how to read the maps.
First of all, getting the GPS coordinates,
which I'll get the night before.
And this is something degrees north.
Yes, exactly. Those things that you learnt in geography in school.
Southwest.
What are contours? What are the landscapes? Those things.
Those ones.
Those lines.
You put all of them onto a map.
Yes. Then you draw. Yes, exactly. How you're going to go, whether you're going to go clockwise, whether you're going to go anti-clockwise, where the checkpoints are, because you have to report to each of the checkpoints. Yes, I mean.
Within the shortest time.
Within the shortest time.
Within
yes.
10 hours.
Yes. So Agnes Mwangi is our driver. She also drives a Land Rover, a Puma. Yes. So Agnes, and I know she's listening. I am
Agnes,
the navigator.
you navigator, and then you've
and
got...
then we have 2 runners.
Mention them by name, please.
Yes, that's why I said Agnes Mwangi is the
And
driver.
then- okay,
in 3
then.
seconds.
Yes, and I am the navigator, Winnie Maru, and then we have Minnie Gitao, a runner, and Elizabeth Wanjiko, another runner. Yes.
All the best to all of
Thank
you ladies.
very, very much.
And thank you very much for joining us today. Winnie Maru is a 4x4 off-road enthusiast. She'll be participating in this year's Dino Charge with the Zambarao Hills on Wheels, car number 50.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. But I suspect Kevin Kangetha will be back in court today to know if he will have managed to hire a new advocate or not. Tuesday, Kangetha was granted access to his phone to necessitate the hiring of new lawyers after he dropped his. He claimed that they were provided by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and did not honor the privacy accorded in an attorney-client relationship. He also complained that they did not represent him to his satisfaction, compelling the court to grant him the time to acquire a new one. The man suspected of killing his girlfriend in the US before fleeing to Kenya will appear before Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina. If he gets a new lawyer, the extradition proceedings are likely to continue in his next appearance in court. The High Court has set June 6th for the hearing of an application to have former President Mwai Kibaki's remains exhumed for DNA analysis in a case where a man is claiming shares in the former politician's multi-billion shillings estate. The move follows the collapse of talks to have the matter resolved out of court. In the case, Jacob Ochola and a woman codenamed JNL moved to court claiming a stake in Kibaki's wealth on the argument that they were sired by the former president. They have since asked the court to order DNA test to show they are children of the former head of state. They want to be recognized as his children and beneficiaries of his estate. Ochola and JNL want the court to order a sibling or paternity DNA test. In the first prayer, they want the court to direct them together with Kibaki's 4 children be subjected to a DNA test to establish whether they are children of the late president. The children are Judy, James Mark Kibaki, David Kagai Kibaki, and Anthony Andrew Githinji Kibaki. In the second and alternative prayer, they want the court to order the exhumation of Kibaki's body for extraction and collection of samples to be used in a DNA paternity test. Now, lawyer Peter Wanyama says that propaganda that claimed he was sponsored by the government to vie for the Law Society of Kenya presidency hurt his campaign. In his concession statement, Wanyama said he used his personal and very limited resources, insisting that no money came from the state as widely claimed. Wanyama went on to say that other major reason he lost the election to Faith Odhiambo was because of the demographics in the legal profession. He said the profession has many young lawyers he did not reach during the campaigns. Now, a Senate committee has asked the National Treasury to set up a multi-agency task force to establish the actual pension liabilities owed to staff by the defunct local authorities and county governments. This is after the inquiry by the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee received conflicting amounts of the unremitted funds from the pension schemes and the Council of Governors. The committee said it got concerned after the pension schemes placed the unremitted amount at 80.1 billion shillings, while COG stated the owed amount stands at 40.5 billion shillings. And the Kenya National Union of Teachers has called on the Teacher Service Commission to give intern teachers permanent and pensionable terms of service after working for a year instead of 2. NatFirst Vice National Chairperson Malela Ngat urged the teachers' employer to endeavor to ensure all intern teachers are converted into permanent and pensionable bases within the first year of service. He spoke during the Imarisha Saga annual delegates meeting in Kericho. Ngat noted that the Employment Act 2007 Part 5, 2, 3 and 4 speaks to discrimination as a violation of the fundamental labor right. Though he lauded the government for employing more teachers in 2023, that is last year, he said the interns are having it rough. And voting is underway in Iran as the country holds its first election since the 2022 anti-government protest. Friday's elections are seen as a crucial test of legitimacy and national support for Iran's leadership, but a low turnout is expected. Voter apathy remains high following a period of unrest after the death of a young woman detained by morality police for wearing improper hijab. More than 61.2 million people are eligible to vote. Two separate polls are taking place today, one to elect the next members of parliament and another to elect members of the Assembly of Experts. And Russian President Vladimir Putin warned the West of the risk of nuclear war if they send their own troops to fight for Ukraine, saying Moscow had the weapons to strike Western targets. In his annual State of the Nation address, Putin said claims that Russia intends to attack Europe are nonsense, but warned that his country might strike Western countries with nuclear weapons. This is News. I'm Dennis Asada. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, what's going on this morning? Let's take a look at the streets. We looked at the Thika Superhighway earlier, and traffic, wasn't really doing the thing until you got to the survey and then on towards the Pangani underpass. Kiambu Road traffic, thing of the past being an hour ago. We're also looking at a little bit of traffic coming in on Limuru Road. And then James Gishiro wasn't too crazy. Waiaki Way is also looking pretty good. Let's take a look at what's coming in on Ngong Road, and that's coming into the city without too much of a hold-up until you get to, the city mortuary roundabout. Also traffic coming in from Raila Odinga Way will affect that just a little bit. Landis Road is now packed bumper to bumper through towards the Kamkunji roundabout, and then Uhuru Highway is going to get busy for probably the rest of traffic hour. We'll keep an eye on things. Let's know what's going on in your neck of the woods. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Please. No. 35 different markets, 14,000 in Africa, 14,000 plus employees, 4 markets outside of Africa. What does that guarantee? It guarantees that really, no matter where you are, your business doesn't have to stop, even if you country hop. Hey, did you hear that?
Your business does not have to stop, even if you country hop.
It's a serious something. So, what are we saying? Seamless transactions can continue. You don't have to have a break in paying your bills. So long as you're on the platform, whether you're using your mobile money or you're stepping into a branch to then convert to local currency, because you've plugged into that platform with EcoBank, you can continue no matter where you are. It's a better way. It's a better Africa.
A better way, a better Africa. Then also tell us about I See a Lion.
What's your plan? Do you have a plan? It really doesn't matter how old you are. Young? No, it doesn't.
All right.
It doesn't matter. Whether you're just starting off, whether you've been there for a while and you say, you know what, for the next couple of years, for the next 10, 15 years, I need to have a plan in place that's going to guarantee that I live life the way I want to do that. But you're not really sure what to do. Well, never worry, because the folks at ICA Lion are saying, you know what, send us an email, trot on down and let's have a conversation about how we can activate your plan and kick this in, what are you going to put aside? Do you want a nest egg? Do you want an emergency for a rainy day? Do you want something that you can live a life of luxury? What is it that you're looking for? It really doesn't matter what's in your head. Come and let's put it down on paper. Let's have a chat about it and activate that plan. You can send an email. You can go down for a chat. But ICA Line is there to make sure your plan works.
Sometime last year, we hosted Dr. Wamalwa. Dr. Dennis Wamalwa is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. And when he joined the Commission on Human Rights, he became the first person in the world to become a state officer, and that person being intersex. He made history. He's been trailblazing. He's even developed a bill to appreciate and acknowledge intersex and to deal with intersex affairs. Now, we are also now moving, and he told us there are many people who are in this country are intersex. In fact, the census of 2019 recognized intersex as one and said, so you shall say you're either male, you're female, you're intersex. And they gave us a population of the intersex in the country. Still did not capture all of them. There are many, many. Our next guest is Monica Mercy. Monica is a student at Machakos University, and she's an aspiring candidate for the SAMU elections. SAMU is Student Association of Machakos University.
Yeah.
And you're going for Special Programs Secretary.
Yes.
And should you win this, you will make history again in all of university elections in the world as the first intersex person to vie and win an election leadership role.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big thing. Monica,
Yes.
good morning. Welcome to the Situation Room. We call that the hot seat of the Situation Room. How does it feel? Warm enough?
Yeah.
Comfortable?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Now, listen to this gentleman. His name is C.T. Muga. He will give you a proverb. Every week, C.T. goes to one African country.
Okay.
And then he researches proverbs from that country. He gives us a proverb a day. The job of the guest who sits on the seat that you're seated on is to listen to the proverb and give us your own interpretation. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
What does the proverb say to you? This week, you've been in which country, City?
Benin.
Benin.
It's
You
in
know where
West
Benin
Africa.
is, Monica?
West Africa.
Okay.
It's next to a country called Togo. It's also next to a country called Nigeria. Oh, yes. Sliver of a country. So, like somebody carved it out so that it goes right into the sea. And then Togo the same. Yes.
That's so beautiful.
It's very beautiful. And then it's also next to Burkina Faso. Interesting place, this one. Death is certain. Does not mean. No, let me repeat. This one I'm
Start
adding my own
again.
things. Death is certain. Does not make one sleep in the grave.
Death is certain.
It's definitely certain.
Does not make one sleep in the grave.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the proverb. On my own thinking, when it says that death is certain, it means, actually, according to my way of thinking, it means that death, it will deprive that person from doing their own responsibility, achieving their goals, doing whatever they wanted to do for so many years. But because they are not living again, they cannot achieve those goals. Yeah, thank you.
You know, this is the beauty of interpretation. You get to hear something you could never, ever have thought of. But you're right. It puts a halt to the very many things that you actually prepared and you thought you would do. That death certainly does.
It does that.
It does.
Monica, you're a student at the Machakos University.
Yes.
What are you studying and how many years have you been in the Machakos University?
I'm taking geography and Kiswahili special needs. Special needs categorically on Kenya Sign Language. I'm in my third year, 3.2 student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and now you're vying for student leadership.
Actually, we finished
You
the
finished the
elections
election.
last week.
Right.
I won with 13 votes. 13 votes. Then my competitor number 2 had 4 votes. And the others continue.
Hey.
So you've made history.
You've already made history.
Yeah.
And here we're talking about the future, yet the future is with us.
It's here, right?
Yeah, the future is
it's already
already with
happened.
us here.
Very, very good. Congratulations. Are in
Thank you
order.
so much.
Now, when we hosted the Commissioner, Dr. Amalwa, here, a couple of things that, we asked him. First of all, we wanted to understand what is intersex. When we say intersex, what does it mean? There are many people who did not hear that conversation that day, or there are many who heard, but still...
We're not sure they heard.
They didn't get it.
Okay.
What is intersex?
Intersex, I've tried to simplify the English many times because I want to go... Everybody get the meaning. Intersex is a child who is born with mixed sexual characteristics. With the binary, categorically you cannot specify whether it's a boy or is a girl at birth. The child can grow with that condition, but the fact that you cannot come up with clear distinction that the child is either a boy or a girl, then the child becomes an intersex until further approval that the child has grown up enough to know their characteristics when they grow up. So to make it more simpler, I normally tell people it's mixed sexual characteristics.
What are those when a baby is born, how can you tell the sexual characteristics of this baby? You look at the sexual reproductive organs, right?
Yeah,
this is how you know this is a boy, this is a girl. When a baby is born and you cannot determine, what does that mean? So what are you seeing?
Let me give my example.
Yes.
When I was born, at first the doctor could not tell my mom whether I was a boy or I was a girl because I had a large clitoris. Then the vaginal opening was closed. So, with those two situations at hand, the doctor could not define whether I was a girl or I was a boy.
So the vaginal opening is closed.
Yeah.
You don't have a scrotum.
No.
You have an enlarged clitoris.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the question is, did you have a penis?
No, it's not a penis.
You see?
Okay. So what did the doctor do then? Or tell your mom?
Now, when the doctor didn't have the answer for the mother, my mom had to give me a name. She gave me Mercy Mutheu. Yeah. She assumed that her child is a girl, and she gave me the name, and now she had to go back home. Yeah.
Okay. So what happened later that would now say there could be some kind of confusion as to whether Mercy is... Because you talked about characteristics that later then, once an individual has grown older, then they can now, according to what they see or other, situations rather, factors, let's use factors as that word, would then make you determine whether you're a boy or a girl. Did anything change as you grew older?
For me, I didn't change anything, including my name, the way I lived and the way I was brought up. One thing I had to do is accept that I am the way I am, and I have to live, and I have to go to school, and I have to do my chores, and I have to do everything that I'm supposed to do. So I did not go further to change my name, my details, say the academic-wise, but I had gone a series of things in the hospital. For the last 12 years, from 9 years to 12 years, I had a series of going to hospital.
For operations?
To do what?
We tried an operation, but it bounced 3 times.
What were you trying to do?
They wanted to correct me. They wanted to open the vagina and see whether they can cut the clitoris because they were assuming that it is a mini penis.
And when you say it bounced, that did not work. What does that mean?
It didn't work because every time we could go to the hospital, either the doctor is not in, either there is another patient, or there is something just came up from the morning and nobody can explain.
So you just never ended up on the operating table?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go back into this. Little girl has gone home with the mom. Okay? The mom has decided, I have a girl. But in truth, the mom is also maybe confused because the doctor has created that confusion. The mom is seeing this girl does not look like a girl fully because she does not have the vaginal opening.
Yeah.
But then your bodily functions, what was happening? How were you passing urine? You don't have a vaginal opening, you have an enlarged clitoris, you don't have a penis. I mean, so what are all these things that are happening? And how was the mom handling?
And how were you handling it?
At times it becomes so confusing to understand the situation yourself. My mom didn't know that my vagina was closed. I told her at my 21.
Oh, all along she thought it's open.
Yes. She didn't know anything because she did not have any access to any other information about intersex or having another person around the community having such a child. So she was feeling like she's the only one having such a child. So one thing, she was so lovely. She was there for me. She was raising me up like a child. She was not biased. She didn't care whether I was a boy or I was a girl. She took me to school, and actually every day she used to encourage me, go to school, read, and give it your best. Number 2, on how to survive on my part. When I realized that I was different from other children as we were playing back then, I had now to come up with my own strategy. Because 1, I don't know of any person who looks like me. Number 2, it is not acceptable in the community to talk about it. So you have to keep it to yourself. It is your private life. And out of this private life, I went far in studies so that I may try to make a difference of myself. Because I didn't want to go back to the community, stay there without a way. Because there was a notion in the community that intersex, you cannot get married. Because, we assume that for a girl, if you fail to perform well in academics, then you will get married.
Yes.
But I'm an intersex. How am I now going to get married? Myself, I've not been experiencing menses. So that means probably I'm infertile. Because I'm Turner's syndrome positive. Now, the option of marriage, I was sure could not work for me. Because I'm not a girl, I'm not a boy. So I cannot marry. 1, because I'm not a boy. I don't have any male organs. Number 2, I'm a female. But my own body anatomy does not represent the female. So I have not to go to studies, read, and live my life.
And perform.
Period.
Okay. I want to go back a little bit because, this is important because, you're of this age now where obviously, so number 1, it's clear that you've done exactly what you've said. Excel in school. And that was clear. That was your mindset. I must. But there are many who struggle with this notion. So I want to go back a little bit. And you talk about your mother not knowing anything about this until you were 21. But when you were younger, surely she must have changed your diaper. She must have had a conversation with you at some point. Did nothing of this ever come up that you and her discussed when you were a little bit older?
Oh, thank you for that. But this was one discussion that I hated. So much. So anytime we could talk talk about my situation with mom, I could just start crying, and she was like, just leave it. Just leave it.
So you are avoiding it yourself?
I've been avoiding it for so long, until 19.
But then you also told us at some point when you were young, you realized that you're different from the other girls. What was it that you realized to be different?
Wow, nice. Now, when you go to pee, now the children will look at you and they will tell you like, you have something that resembles the boy. And I will go tell mom, Fulani said that I have something that resembles the boys. But I'm a girl, I'm passing urine like a girl. So how comes that mom, that today they are saying that I look like a boy? I'm passing urine like a boy. But now mom was like, just leave them alone. You are good the way you are. And you're my daughter. Actually, I was the favorite of my mom. So she was trying to bring me so close to protect me, to ensure that I'm covered, and so that I may feel secure. Because if the community can surely be that harsh to you, then where can you go? the last option is your mother. Yeah.
So did you ever talk back to the girls and the other children and tell them, no, my mother told me I'm a girl?
No.
How are you handling it? I mean, I'm just imagining you're a young girl and the other girls are telling you, where you look like a boy.
At times, I avoided playing a lot. Actually, currently now I realize myself I normally play a lot.
This is the time.
This is the time that I play to revenge very well. So anytime we could have such a discussion with the children, me, I could just run home. I don't want to hear anything about that. Because I realized that I was growing. Even I realized that the female structure of a lady, there is a clitoris. Me, I also assumed that it is a penis.
You thought even girls have...
No. I didn't know that ladies do have a clitoris.
Oh, I see.
Because anything to do with the sexual anatomy, I was just out of it. I don't want to discuss about it. Yeah. This one helped me to get rid of the stress of what people will look. They will be looking down upon me the way I'm different from them. So anything that will touch sex anywhere, my physical appearance, I'm just done with it.
You get to puberty and the other girls now are starting to experience their period. Did your mother ever talk to you about period?
She used to question me about the periods at 12. But I was like, Mom, I didn't see anything. Months and months passed. My sister also asked about it, and I was like, there is nothing that is coming out. So instead of keeping asking me, just let me live. Let me
wachaneni na mimi.
Wachaneni na mimi. Ikikuja nitawaambia. Kama haikuji, leave me alone. Yeah. So I was just so defensive to myself. If it's not there, kindly, let's just leave it. Because you will start asking me, why? So how am I supposed to answer that question? Why? Now, how will I start explaining that the periods did not come? How will I now?
And you are 15.
And I'm 15. Surely. How will I now start explaining that I even tried, by the way, using the sanitary towels once. I stole one from my sister. And I waited the whole day. And nothing happened. I threw it away. And moved on. Because surely it's seriously irritating me. Why should I keep wearing it? And I'm sure that nothing is going to happen. In case I see anything on my panties, then I will have it. But up to now, I've never seen anything. So I still live.
But you're also like trying to defend. You're fighting off something. It was concerning you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're wondering, okay, so why? Why is it not happening? Maybe it's true. I mean, my mom is asking, my sister is asking me. I can see all the other girls talking about their period maybe, or experiencing their period. I'm not. So what would you tell yourself?
Now, when I went to thank education, I took biology in Form 4, all my high school life. So in Form 4, we were talking about genetics. We were talking about disorders of chromosomes and the genetic disorders. And I realized that I had some characteristics that were in the book. That is Turner's syndrome positive. 1, they don't have breasts. 2, they are infertile. Their ovaries, they don't grow up to maturation. So I related this information with the results that I had received from the hospital, that they had said that my ovaries are present, all the internal organs are female, but the ovaries are not mature enough. Due to the condition that I was having, the Turner syndrome, I could not receive my menses because the ovaries could not go to ovulation, could not mature enough. So now I was like, now I have a reason now to go and tell them now. Yeah.
As per why this didn't happen.
Yeah.
When did you establish for yourself as Mercy? Forget about these outside voices, all the things that you had heard, all the things that you had seen, all the things that you had or had not experienced. When did you now establish for yourself that, number one, I am different and this is where we are, this is how we are moving forward?
Oh, thank you. Now, from the experience that I had a lot of problems with the doctors, When it comes to games, it is a problem. When it comes to school, it is also a problem. When it comes to matters relationships. So let me give an example of sports. There was a time I went for games. And to mention this, Daktari also said it the other time. I was that mercy, by the way. I was that mercy who I had now to leave games and go home. Because now they want to strip me naked. They want to take me to the toilet to see whether I'm a girl or I'm a boy.
Right.
I went to go home. And I left the games and I went home. And now I had now to come up with a way. There was one thing that I've been always avoiding, negative mindset. The fact that I could harm myself, I did not allow to develop in my mind. I always, every morning I could tell myself, you can do it. You are breathing, you're not at ICU. You can make it. You can walk to school. You can read those books and understand. Why don't you use that opportunity to make a difference? Why don't you use those books to ensure you achieve that life that you wanted? When I realized that I am that different, now I had to come up with my own strategy. When I was in high school and when it comes to changing my clothes, switch off to games very fast, I had my own strategy to change. Because I don't know of any intersex somewhere to come and help me, to come to tell me this is normal. Let's live with it. I had to create my own conducive environment. Come up with a strategy, change your clothes very fast, go to the games, do things the way you're supposed to do them. The other thing was leadership. Leadership was one thing that helped me so much. The fact that you're a leader, at times people will make jokes, but they won't offend you. So the leadership also gave me an assurance. It was like a protective gear.
Right.
That nobody is now going to harm you now because you're a prefect. Yeah. I've been a leader since class 3. So I transited from class 3, high school, I was a leader. So the leadership gave me an opportunity to come out. When I speak of myself, I get courageous. When I speak of myself, at the back of my mind, I will not have to question myself of what will think of me. Because I have explained myself, I have talked about myself, and the interpretation that comes to you, it's okay. Because I didn't want any person to come back and start asking, you said you're intersex. There is this weird question that always comes.
Right.
And it's so boring, but at times we have to answer it. Somebody will come and ask you, do you normally have intimacy? Then I'm like, what kind of question is this? Then I will tell them, because the next question will be, do you have sex with female or with male? I find it so irritating, by the way.
You'll tell us why. But let's take a break. 29 minutes to 10. Our guest this morning is Mercy Monica Mudeo. Oh, you dropped the M.
No.
It's still there. Right? She is the Special Program Secretary for the Students Association of Machakos University. She's a student at Machakos University. And she's here to tell us why she has chosen to go for this particular slot, and also to celebrate her because she is the first in the world intersex student to take student leadership in any university in the world. That's a big thing. Also educating all of us about intersex. All of us need to understand a lot more of it. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
I've got a plan to make my investment season hotter than a Sunday barbecue grill. ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. Talk to us today for a plan that's right for you. Or visit icealion.co.ke. ICEA Lion. What's your plan?
If you want to be surprised by the fame and shame of famous celebrities, what do? Hang out in the washrooms of expensive nightclubs? See who's really staying at that secret hideaway hotel? None of the above, because soon the Nairobian will become the Nairobian Extra and give you TNX rated celebrities live.
traffic on Jogoro this morning. It's going to go out towards Landis, and then you'll touch on the Kamkunji roundabout with just a bit of that. More or less done on the Thika Superhighway as well. Friday morning, I told you, not too much of an issue. It doesn't matter where you look this morning, except if you're on North Airport Road and you're heading towards Outer Ring at the junction, there's a bit of traffic as you head towards what was once Taj Mall. Apart from that, I think we're good. Friday morning has not been too painful. Let's see what happens throughout the rest of the day. Talk to us on SpiceFM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We had a conversation last year with Dr. Dennis Omalwa. He's the commissioner with the Kenya National Commission of Human Rights. He was the first intersex person to be appointed into a state office in the world. Now we have Monica M. Mercy. She is the Special Program Secretary at the Student Association of Machakos University. She is the first intersex person to occupy a leadership position in any university in the world. And you're telling us now your journey through intersex and understanding and creating awareness among others. Very many people don't understand. I mean, there's a lot of ignorance. And yes, when you talk about intersex and gender, you think gender sexuality is the sexual activity. And that's the one annoying question that you say, you hate it. Because just somebody trying to understand, okay, so do you have sex with men? Do you have sex with women? And you get so pissed off being asked that question. Yeah. But how do you respond?
Now, one thing when I'm talking to people, I have to analyze who is my audience, what am I telling them, and where and when. So when such a question comes, I'll tell them, actually when it comes to matters intimacy, it is something so sacred. So I try to keep it private. So I will tell them because simply I'm a female, definitely. The obvious is
so you
the
just
answer.
let them, take it back.
I will just have to expose them to critical thinking. I won't tell them everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually this is my private life. How do you want me to tell you everything? Then what will now remain private of me? Yes.
That's a good one.
True. Do you think that it would have been different? And of course, every time we have conversations of this nature, the point is to then normalize the conversation. Because number one, too many people with awesome potential have been kept under wraps. Too many people have not shared their opinion. Too many people have not had the world experience their gifts and talents because we've kept them away from society because whoever we is, does not understand. And because they are not exposed, then we keep them away. Would it have been different if you didn't have the position that you do today? If you didn't make the decisions that you did to come out, what do you think would have been different about you in 2024?
Okay, thank you. What could have been of me if I didn't get the position is one, I had made a decision in my heart. Whether I get the position or fail to get the position, I will create awareness, even if it calls for me to stand alone. I was ready for anything that would come my way so that I may help the intersex people and the people who are feeling that they are left out back in the community, that they may come out. I always recall the many years that I cried, questioning myself, who am I, what am I, and how will I end at the end of the day? But with this position, it is an opportunity for everyone who hears my story that they may come out. They may understand themselves. The first thing is accepting themselves. Accept the way you are and come out the way you are. Yes. Thank you.
When did you encounter somebody else who's intersex? When did you first come across another intersex person?
That was back 2021. That person was Commissioner Dr. Dennis Wamalwa. He was the first person that I encountered as an intersex, and I was seriously relieved.
How old were you then in 2021?
I was 19.
And this is the first time you're coming across another intersex person?
Yeah.
How did you get to meet?
At first, in the process of looking for school fees, I was introduced to one of the waziris at Wote. That was Bob Kisula, Waziri Bob Kisula. Then after that, after we left his office, just 2 weeks after that, Commissioner Dr. Dennis went to Wote to create awareness about intersex. That's where now he received my contact from the Waziri, and that's now how we started talking. From there, it has been a series of wonderful days, meeting intersex day in, day out. Yes.
You know, I'm thinking of just how very lonely all those years must have been for you, and how torturous it was, because you were the odd person and there was no one like you. The God you believe in is a real God, because how does one stay sane with something that no one around you can explain to you adequately, or no one even seems to understand? But here we are now. Now let me ask the question.
Yeah.
When you were campaigning, were you campaigning as a young lady, or were you campaigning as an intersex citizen of Kenya?
Okay, thank you. When I was campaigning, I used Mercy Monica, intersex person. And I used to tell them, this is the only intersex person in Machakos, and I am proud. Yes, because I don't have anything now to fear.
Right.
I have already told them all my private life. My private life is, I am intersex. Is there anything other question you have? If you have, bring it on board. I will answer you.
Okay.
That's simple.
When you were doing your KCPE, your gender was listed as female.
Yes.
When you're doing your KCSE, what is your gender listed as?
Still female.
When you enrolled at Machakos University, what was your gender?
Female.
At what point did you have a conversation with the administration at Machakos University to tell them, actually, intersex?
Now, thank you. But when we come to administration, and when it comes to almost every public administration, many a times they don't include the intersex. While I was campaigning, while I was applying for the position at first, I had to use my pen and write there intersex, because I can't tick female and male at the same time. So I left both of them blank, and I went ahead and wrote intersex, because I don't know, the society doesn't feel that these people are there. But I think it is very important that they just have this space for intersex. So the university didn't give me an opportunity to suggest whether I was an intersex or not. When I was enrolled at first, I enrolled as female, Mercy Monica. Then while I was 1.2 in the same year, I realized that I was intersex, but I could not change anything. So I had first to live with that until the end, continue with studies, and start now to learn to accept myself in a better way, instead of defending myself. Yes.
All the time. So let's look at these letters, LGBTQI. I is usually for intersex. There's been arguments that why do you put intersex here and it should not be? What do you feel about that? Because it's a mainstream conversation today, and it is very clear here for very many that it actually is a physiological manifestation of how you are born.
Yes.
Right? How do you feel about that? Sometimes it's not put there, a lot of times it is. What do you feel about that?
Thank you so much. I feel that the LGBTQ, it's a sexual orientation that one has a choice. I feel that these are individuals who are born male, these are individuals who are born female. And they agreed to change their sexual orientation to something else. Intersex, you don't have an opportunity to change anything. You cannot change your sexual orientation. You remain to be intersex. It is true that intersex go through the corrective surgeries, but even if you go through them, you still remain to be an intersex, because there is so many anatomy of the body that cannot be changed. Like now, let me use the word breast. Even if I go for the surgery that was supposed to be done then, does it mean now I'm going now to have the breast? The answer is no. I remain to have my anatomy the way I am. I will remain to be just the way I am. So on that part of LGBTQ, I just feel the I should be out, because it is something that you don't have a decision over it. It is natural. You cannot change anything. It's the same way of telling somebody who doesn't have an arm to go and purchase one. Where are you going to get one from? It is something which is natural. You're going to live with it. You're going to stay with it and die with it. Yeah, so I just feel that the I should be out from the LGBTQ. That's
many things in government. In fact, cases have gone to court and courts have said, look, you have, as government, have got to start recognizing intersex as intersex, starting from the very beginning. I think a judgment by Justice Lenaola a couple of years ago saying the system should now go back and start recognizing you as intersex from your birth certificate to all your academic papers, to your ID, to your passport going forward. Has that happened?
So far, I can say yes, because a number of my friends who are intersex, they have started the journey of changing the names, the ID, and the birth certificate. So I can say yes.
So the people, now you go to apply the registrar of births and you say, let's amend my birth certificate and give me a new one that says intersex, right?
Yes.
And there are those who have successfully done that.
Yeah.
Is it an arduous task for them from what they tell you? Do they have an easy conversation? Do they just walk in across the counter, I want to change this?
No, it is not an easy task. Because before you change the registration, before you come up with the changing of names, there needs to be an approval. There needs to be an approval from the medics that they have satisfied you that you're intersex, that you can be approved for changing of the birth certificate and other document. But once they change your birth certificate, which is, it's a bit hectic, but when they are able to change it from there, it becomes easy. But it takes a lot of time.
Do you think there's something that should be done to coordinate all this? I mean, you don't have to be sent back to Register of Persons. Then you go to the Kenya National Examinations Council. Please change my result slip, my education certificate, all the way to the university. Please change this. Then to the immigration, change my passport, change my ID. Do you think they should open an office for the intersex people who have been denied their right all these years, and the law has found that they have been denied their right to actually have this fast-tracked and corrected?
Okay, thank you. What I feel first needs to be done is the awareness. Because if I come to tell you that today I'm not a Mercy, I'm going to be Alex, the question will be how, why, what are the reasons? So when we start it from the background, and that's why we are trained to start it from the medics. When that child is born, then you cannot specify the binary for the sex of the child. Kindly just let it be intersex, because you cannot have a lesbian. You cannot have the what do I call it?
You cannot say this child is a lesbian or that this child is a homosexual.
True.
If you do not know what you're saying, essentially, sorry, if I'm putting the words in your mouth, just clarify.
Yeah.
If a medical practitioner at the time of birth of this child has seen the characteristics that qualify this child to be intersex, they should just call it that from the very beginning.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. So that it may become an easy journey for the intersex people to apply for the papers, to apply for the registration and the demonstration everywhere. That's my suggestion.
Do you have a grouping of intersex persons who have come together, maybe formed an association or something?
Yes, we do have.
What's it called?
IPIC.
Okay.
And IPSK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you use this for advocacy, right? And also for awareness creation. Yeah. Have you, as any of these two associations, engaged with the medical professionals in a formal organized forum where maybe you're even starting to deal with OBGYNs who will be at that point of birth to start, sensitizing them on this?
Yeah, thank you. The organization have been doing that. To add on that, even just the coming week, we'll be having a sensitization program at Wote, Level 5 Hospital. We'll be talking to the medics. We'll be telling them what is intersex. How does it look at birth? How can you know that this child is intersex? What criteria will you use? So that you may also ensure that you don't harass that person, either physically, because at one point I was harassed and I felt so bad at the hospital. So we are trying to sensitize them from the groups, from the social media, from all the groups that we are having. We are trying to create awareness. We are sensitizing the community. We are telling them what they will expect, because intersex is going to be there even after us. It is going to be there because it's something that is natural. Yes.
Okay. Someone is asking, what's your pronoun?
She.
So you go with she, her.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If we went now into full formal, it's already happening, in full formal recognition of intersex. So there's male, female, intersex. So what would be the pronouns for intersex? Is it that you choose you're the one who allocates your pronoun for yourself?
From just our basic English, we normally give pronouns according to your name and how you want to orient yourself when it comes to matters your body.
Yeah.
So hata mimi naweza sema pale kuna utata when it comes to pronouns. I've tried to see what can we do about these pronouns so that we don't use he, she, they, them. You understand, such pronouns. But I think according to me now, we can use the pronouns according to your name. Yeah, if it's Monica, let it be she, unless you want it otherwise. Yeah.
Do you think there is enough recognition across board beyond what intersex folks are doing, beyond the awareness that's being raised for folks who are at a policy level? Because now we are talking about at ministry level, where policies are being, put together for certain recognitions, and then because of that, for certain rights to be upheld. Do you think there's enough being done at that level? Do you think there's, yes, we do have someone in that level, at that level, who is policy, who happens to be intersex. But is there more that could be done? And if so, from your point of view, what is that?
From my point of view, actually, when we compare the numbers of intersex persons across the country, from the previous census, we are around 47 million. Then from the same previous census, the intersex were 1524. And among those 1524, I'm very sure that so many of them, they have not come out to speak of their life as intersex. So the main bit that I can advocate for is first because we are living with humans. We are living with the males and the females. All together, I just want us to create that awareness. Let's understand that it is there, because we are not having sufficient numbers of intersex to be present at every office. It may not be possible. But anytime the administration of a particular organization, they meet an intersex person who is applying for any opportunity in the organization, according to me, I think it is very good if that intersex person qualifies for such a job to be given.
You know, we do have an understanding in this country in our laws where jobs, businesses, a certain portion are set aside for people living with disabilities or people with disabilities. Now, some call it preferential treatment, some call it affirmative action.
Mm-hmm.
So then, are we saying that for people who are intersex, the same rule that applies to affirmative action should be applied to them?
According to my suggestion, it's yes. Because what we are trying to do is to look for inequality and equality, whereby everybody can be absorbed in any position. Everybody can be served with the current government we are having. Everybody can work in wherever they are, whatever environment they have. Is it conducive enough for them to work? If it is students, is it conducive enough for them to learn? If it's people doing business, because we have intersex people doing business, is the environment conducive? Do they have the equal opportunities so that we may live equally? What I want to put across is that we don't want we intersex to live like we are in a quarantine. We want to be living like the way you people live. We want to be social the way you are. We need to, if it's taking part in games, athletics, we want to live the normal life. Actually, we just need to live the normal life. Yeah.
And just acknowledging that for a long time, intersex have been marginalized. And in order for us to address that marginalization, we have to have affirmative action. That's the whole point of affirmative action, is to make sure that those that have previously been marginalized are then brought into the mainstream as quickly as possible. And we support that. So basically just saying, in fact, if you are in this particular category, you stand a higher chance of getting a job opportunity should you meet all the other criteria. I support that 100%. As a student leader, as special program secretary at the Machakos University, what is his job? What are you supposed to do?
Wow, nice, thank you. My work one is to run the programs which are special. When it comes to people with disability, I'm the one to cater for them. I'm the one to know about their numbers. In case the institution admits a student who is living with disability, it's my responsibility to keep into records, to help them understand, to maneuver through the school as well. Also, it's my responsibility also to allocate funds from them, from the administration. It's my work for me to understand that wherever they're living, that is outside school, are they safe wherever they are? Can they access just the normal things they need to do? Can they access them with a lot of ease? So it's my responsibility to take care of their wellness. Yes.
You're studying special needs.
Yes.
What would you like to do after college?
After college? Or
when you graduate?
After university, once you graduate, what's your plan?
Wow.
Have you thought about it?
Yes.
Well, then tell us what you've thought about.
One, I don't want to put it so personal, because I want to have a job. Okay. Actually, we read so that after school, we get a job. So after the job, my mission of creating awareness doesn't end in the university. Whatever thing I can do after academics, I will. I also want to further my studies. I want to become a prof. Yes. A prof in academics. And because I realized that I am so glued to people who live in disability. That's why I went for Kenya Sign Language. I wanted to know, how do they speak? How do they run their daily chores? Because you can imagine that person is using the same road that we are using and cannot hear a hooting vehicle from back.
Yeah.
So how does that one happen? So I was just so curious, and I got into academics. Yeah, so after school, I just want to get a job, help the people living with disability, as well as help my family. Intersex and my mom's family. They are so prior to me. Yes.
You know, the fact that you were elected speaks very loudly about the community you come from. They're a very accommodating community. And they looked at you for who you actually are and said, this is the person we want to lead us.
True.
Yeah, so let me just say, you have a wonderful mother, but you also come from a very wonderful community.
Very good.
Thank you.
Monica M. Mercy, Special Program Secretary at Machakos University. As a student leader, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations once again on all this what you've gone through, and now saying, I want to create awareness. I want people to understand me and those like me who are intersex and what we go through. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. And thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation through the month of February. And now that we're into the month of March, we hope to see you on Monday. Have a lovely weekend. 10 a.m.
Spice up your